some of you may know, my name is Tim. I'm from Dubai. Didn't grow up in Dubai. Grew up in England. Moved. Not sure what's going on with this is my intro music. You guys liking it? We'll just sort this out before we continue.
There's something initiating it, though.
Yeah, yeah. It's like Tron, isn't it? Is that okay? We're good. So yeah, third time in Kuwait. Really love the place. You guys have got it cold here. It's much colder than Dubai. We're wearing a blazer, which I've been enjoying. So yeah, so today is about maximizing the Sony Cinema Line for your business. So I'm going to walk you through a little bit about what I do, my business, and how I've made the Cinema Line work for me. This is more centered around how you can get ROI out of the brand. And if you are a serious DP, maybe you're a junior DP, or maybe you're a rental house, this is just me telling you about the ROI, the ecosystem, and the community that Sony has around this entire cinema line. We are going not too deep with every camera. It's very top level, and there will be a couple of demonstrations. So basically, we're breaking this down into 3 parts. We'll just go through me, the overview of the cinema line. We'll do some quick questions. We'll have a quick break. For us a chance to network, have a little chat and a little play. And then I'll go into a deeper look with the 30, the 3, the 6, and the FR7. And then we'll do a quick demonstration. We've got Omar, our boxer over here. So he's going to be just sparring on the punch bag. We can test some of the functions the cameras give us. And then we'll be going into part 3 where we look at the bigger cameras, which is the Burano and the Venice. All right? Do I need to stand over here, or do I need to stand here? Is it okay?
No,
it's okay? Okay, cool. So humble beginnings. So this is me, young lad in the UK. I actually got into filmmaking. I didn't study it. I actually started with this Fujifilm FinePix camera. This is something I got given as a Christmas present when I was about 14. And that's how I learned to film, just due to the surprise. I've never studied it in university, didn't have any mentoring. And I used to film kiteboarding. So one of the things I did when I was a young lad is I used to make videos where I used to kiteboard in beaches and in fields in the UK. And one of the things that I learned quite quickly by documenting a hobby and an interest of mine, I got noticed and I got sponsored. So from a very young age, I realized the power of content. This was back in around 2007, 2008. And then I found myself working at a motorsport circuit in the UK, and that's where I started doing the events. So thankfully, due to the experience I got from dabbling as a kid, filming myself kiteboarding, I ended up working at a circuit, and I ended up filming a lot of the events that happened there. Thanks to being in an industry where there's a lot of people that are high net worth individuals, and there's a lot of events around the UK and Europe, I ended up growing as a filmmaker, and I got hired, and I got a lot of clients. I moved to Dubai, and a few years later, after meeting some people in the motorsport industry, that brought me out to the country, and then I started a production business where I became also a Sony ambassador when the FX9 came out. Our clients now is, we grew to a team of 20 inside 10 years, and we did work with the Pope when he came. We've produced Indian matchmaking. I do work with Will Smith and Jay Shetty quite frequently. We do lots of automotive work, and you may have seen this content where Will Smith is on top of the Burj Khalifa. That was my shot. And we do work now in the millions of dollars per year, and I owe it mainly to Sony and the ecosystem that it gives me. This is my show reel, which I'm going to play, and this will give you a little insight of the kind of content we've made over the years. Just check if it plays. Apologies, 1 second. Technology, eh? Had it working a few minutes ago. I think probably what I'll do is just refresh the browser. Oh, the internet's dropped, that's why. Is someone able, Rafi, you able to help me with the Wi-Fi just quickly? Someone? Anyone? Yeah, just take it. So yeah, while we're fixing that, I'll just give you a bit more context. So basically, just in case you're wondering how I got to Dubai, So being in the industry, motorsport engineering, I got to work with a lot of people that were basically famous race drivers. And one of the things I want to talk about a bit later is that content creators were very caught up in all the equipment and the gear and the technology and the quality of it all, but I think we forget how we can use this to help develop our network and get clients. And when I was a lot younger, it was very much accidental that I ended up being in such a fruitful, high net worth industry. And these racing drivers that we basically were filming were from all walks of life. We ended up meeting this Indian billionaire racing car driver who had a director friend, and we ended up working with him in Dubai quite frequently. And it was due to the network that I had that brought me out there, and we started a company. So okay, you got it sorted? It's connecting? No worries. While we're waiting for that still to work, can I just get a show of hands? So who's here is a production house? Any rental companies here? No? All of you DPs? Any serious DPs here? No one shoots cameras? No one shoots with cameras? Okay, let's start again. So who's quite new to the industry? Who's like quite junior? One or two people? Three? Okay, and who's been shooting for several years? Okay, and who's part of a production agency or a production team? Just one. And there's any rental houses in the room? Okay, so all of you guys, can we just maybe just go around the room, just try and work out what you guys are trying to get in terms of value today? So are you guys wanting to learn about the cameras? Anyone wanting to invest in the cinema line? Yeah? Is anyone looking to understand how to get more clients with them, or is it just mainly the gear that you're interested in? Yeah? Okay, cool. All right. Good to know who I'm talking to. Working okay?
But you're going to talk about techniques as well?
Yes, we will do. We will do. Yeah, sure. Just present. Full screen. Yeah, there we go. Press present there. Right, here we go.
Volume.
Okay, so guys, this is my show reel, which I just thought I'd share. You guys get some context of what we've been doing over the last 10 years.
Next year is going to be a big year for me. Let my hand heal up, I'll be coming back stronger.
Pleasure, man. Thanks. I'm so happy that I could be here with you guys. It's super fun for me.
So that's my reel, guys. And that's basically an amalgamation of about 8 years of content from all the Sony cameras I've used over the years. And one of the things we get complimented on quite a lot is how consistent that footage is. And you'd be surprised, I've used A7S2s in there, FX9s, FX6s, Venice, and you can see how everything works quite well together. And that's what Sony's about. It's all about the ecosystem that they create for their cameras. So obviously we've just gone around the room quickly. It seems like I'm speaking to a lot of people that are kind of junior to semi-serious DPs. So I will tailor this presentation more towards you guys looking to enter this, assumingly to enter the Cine line, or maybe upgrade depending on where you are. So how did I do it? Our success in Dubai with our production company that turns over millions of dollars a year now, and we've got a team of around 10, has mainly been down to 3 things. Firstly, I studied sales and networking about 3-4 years in when I got into the country, and that made a massive jump in terms of learning how to acquire clientele. I got a lot of camera time with the actual skills, and the last one, which is this bit, I had reliable and ergonomic tools. So I actually owe 2 of these things that are bound to our success due to Sony. So the ecosystem, they support new to experienced DPs. You can have someone go buy an A6500, buy a small kit lens with it, and then eventually grow with that same equipment to a camera much later on in the cinema line. And the reliability and the ergonomic tools enabled me to use them really efficiently. A bit later on, I'm going to show you how these cameras can make your job much easier. You know, back a few years ago, if you wanted to do, for example, a very smooth tracking shot, and you wanted to shoot something really high resolution, you'd have to have a Steadicam operator and a big cinema camera and then a first AC and a wireless monitoring and a load of crew to support you. Now, you can pretty much stick like a Burano, for example, that shoots 8K, and it now has auto functions, and you don't need any of the crew to do that. In fact, I was shooting a commercial for Gulf Oils only 2 days ago, and there was just a team of 2 of us, and we did an entire production. So Sony really help you elevate your quality and your efficiency on set. So how can, any questions, no? Okay, so how can Sony Cinema Line maximize things for your business? So I don't think, personally, people buy cameras on quality anymore. Not to talk bad about any other brands, but you can take Fujifilm, Nikon, Canon, Arri. If you know how to use it well, I think we can all agree you can get a lovely image out of it. Would we agree with that? Yeah? It's all to do with the skill. I mean, you can have fast cars, but they go around a circuit when you have a fast driver. So what do you buy cameras on? I think it's these 5 things. Okay? You buy a camera based on now its auto functions, which helps your quality and speed go up. Going back to the reference where if we wanted to shoot something with someone, where like we wanted a gimbal tracking shot, we don't need a first AC anymore, we can lean on the autofocus. Or maybe we're doing an interview outside, and there's clouds coming in and out, and we've got a variance in exposure, so we can leverage the auto ND now. So this is one of the things. Ecosystem. So Sony are very, very big on you buying once and then using it in many cameras. We've got the Venice 2 over here, which you can see has currently got a PL glass lens on it, but behind it is the E-mount, and that works right the way down to their small cameras. So that's the ecosystem. Community. Obviously, when you invest in a brand, you want to have the support. You want to feel like you're a part of something. You want advice and educational content that can help you grow. Sony are very big on this. They have Alpha Universe, and me, along with many other ambassadors around the world, invest a lot in training and workshops to help you maximize the ROI with this equipment. Again, it's not about quality. They teach you how to get clients, how to improve your workflow, efficiencies. Ergonomics. I think people need to understand that when you buy a camera, it needs to be easy to use. I've used some cameras in the past, and it's cumbersome, it's hard to hold, the viewfinder's like all skew-whiff, and you can't operate easily with it. I think if you're faster, you get better content, you get more content, the client's happier, you're happier. We've all been there when we're editing, and we wish we had this shot, or this shot, or this shot, and we all wish production could move a bit smoother sometimes. So the ergonomics play a massive difference. And lastly, the workflow. We'll talk a bit about this later, but the Venice 2 and the Burano, which is a new camera, has a new codec called XOCN. It's something you can edit with on a MacBook Air. It's so efficient with computers. Workflow is changing and becoming easier. As file sizes are getting bigger, it's actually getting easier to process and work with it. And you still maintain all that amazing flexibility as you would do with RAW. So this is why I think Sony is market leading. Now, I know this market is probably not as heavy as Sony as some other countries, but in my opinion, I think this is coming, whether you guys move with it or not. And I just want today just to help bring clarity to where you have gaps or concerns or questions. And again, even though I'm a Sony ambassador, I will advise you in my own most honest way possible, because I also use a lot of other cameras in my production business, okay? So here's one example. I just wanted to show how Sony's really, really useful for productions. This was a shoot I did for Speedo. We had a top-down shot over a pool, and we had a big trust with the FX6 mounted on, and this is an app that Sony have called Content Browser Mobile, and you can see me changing my ND, my white balance, press record. I can choose my focus, and it's all done through my mobile phone, and I don't have any other crew. It's just me, and I've got a grip doing this for me. So this is something which, if you go back 7 or 8 years ago, you'd need like 5, 6 crew members for this. This just shows the practicality and the ergonomic benefits that Sony bring. It's not about quality. It's about speed and efficiency. And the quality is really good, don't get me wrong. So my thoughts is that the Cinema Line, we've got FX30, we've got Venice 2, we've got the entire range in between. This lineup is not for FX30s for students, and the Venice is for really, really big feature-level people. It's actually for everyone, but you just have to choose what camera is right for the production. It's not based on target market. It's based on what you need it for, because I still use the FX30 in some jobs, and I use the Venice 2 in some jobs. And even if you're new to the industry, you can always hire a Venice 2. You know, you can put it into your quote, get the client to pay for it, and you can still use it. So this ecosystem is important for you to know and understand. So, in case you guys do not know what the fleet is, we have the FX30 and the 3. They look very similar because they are the same body, but they're very different inside. The only difference is this has got black screws, this has got silver screws on the side, you can see here. We've got the FX6, the FR7. These two are basically the same camera, except one is a P to Z. Does anyone know what a P to Z is? Yep, so it's like a remote control camera where you can, you know, you've got one and as you walk into this store, it focuses on you and stuff. Then we've got the FX9. This is one of the original cameras in the fleet, so it's one of the oldest now. The Burano, this is the newest. It's over there. It's the only one in Middle East and Africa, so no one drop it. And we've got the Venice 1 and the Venice 2. The Venice 1 still being sold, and the Venice 2 is recently new. But this is particularly special because it has this Rialto thing, which enables you to detach the front from the main body to do some really challenging shots, which we'll show later. So, top level first, we're just going to talk quickly about the FX30 and the 3. So, the FX30 and the 3 is effectively a compact form factor camera that Sony have developed to, yes, cater to people new to the cinema line, but it's also good in terms of putting on a gimbal, using in tight spaces, using something to travel with easy. And even though they're small, the quality is really, really high. In fact, the FX3 is basically an FX6. It's just a different body. I'm going to show you a production that I did with the FX30 just to prove how high quality it was. And this was for Michelin Guide. They paid, I think, about $45,000 for a 3-day shoot for this exact asset. And this was them debuting their announcement in Abu Dhabi. So have a little look and see what you think of the FX30. Apart from the drones, of course. Now you're probably thinking, why did I choose the FX30? Well, for this production, even though we had Abu Dhabi Tourism working with us, this was a very last minute shoot. A lot of the locations are difficult to work with. I'm sure we've all been in those situations where we have to be kind of using discrete gear sometimes, be a bit more nimble. I only had a team of 3, and we had 2 cameras running around. And to obviously have something like an FX6, 9, or even a bigger camera requires a lot more support. So this was actually a decision to use the FX30 due to the fact that we thought it would just be a very easy camera to just nimbly use yourself without having to lean on too much crew. And obviously we wanted to use the FX30 because we were actually shooting on Super 35 lenses. So one thing I particularly love about the FX30 is even though people might say it's restricted because it's not full frame, I actually quite like because I own a lot of glass that is not full frame. I don't know if anyone in the room, who in the room has Super 35 lenses or anyone, or has everyone got full frame glass? Yeah? Couple? Okay, so that's the benefit. FX30 has a sensor that can accommodate that. Something like the FX3 or the FX6 can't do 4K on Super 35. So this is where like an advantage to the FX30 exists. Now the FX3 again is very similar. I haven't included an asset of that because it's very similar to the FX6, but I'll show you something with the 6 now. So the 6, just so you know the difference between the two, the 9 is a lot older. It's the newest, and it was the oldest in the Cine line. The 6 is kind of like a compact version. So they're both full frame. This has a 6K sensor. This has a 4K sensor. Now, this has a much higher frame rate, much higher base ISO. Does anyone know what high base ISO and low base ISO is? Yeah? Just quickly, sorry?
Dual native.
Yeah, dual native. So just to tell everyone, in case you don't know what dual base ISO is, you have a sensor which is clean. Its native ISO gives you the cleanest image, so very little noise. And most cameras all cameras have one. But Sony have developed dual-based native ISO, which means they have one that's very sensitive, so good in low light, and one that isn't very sensitive, where it's good like outdoors or in a well-lit setting. And the benefit to that is that you can use a high base ISO in a dark situation and a low in a very bright situation. And that's important because you have a cleaner image. So all the Cinema Line has this. The FX6 has a very high one shared with the FX3 of 800 and 12,800 ISO, which is huge, and I'll show you this shortly. And the FX9 has 800 and 2,500, so much lower.
Safety comes first.
Here's an example of the FX6.
Before I go drifting, I sanitize my gear and drift car. Shield Me kills viruses and bacteria instantly. Being alcohol-free, it's safe for me and my crew. It's completely natural. Yalla Shield Me.
So what was particularly good about this production with the FX6 is we were in an environment where this garage that we were shooting in was very, very challenging. It didn't look very good, and we needed to make everything look quite dark. So one of the benefits the FX6 has is it has a variable ND. So just like when you screw an ND on a lens to darken the image to expose properly for outside, the FX6 has a very, very wide range of a variable ND built in. And I was able to leverage that, just pump my subject and car with light and just darken the background, crush the blacks and just make it look very moody. This was something that was broadcasted in a cinema for the Fast and the Furious movie when it launched in the UAE, and we had it around all the, I think, the Vox cinemas. So this was quite a successful video production. And again, this was done in half a day, team of 2 or 3 people, not a big crew at all. And you can see the results look quite good. Here's an example of the FX9. Now, as you can tell, I do a lot of car stuff, going back to my motorsport background. So the FX9 I love using in studios because of the detail you get. So even though the FX9 is quite an old camera now, before you get to the Burano level, I have to say it's technically still the highest quality camera in the fleet because it has a 6K sensor, which you can actually use a 5K scan mode to shoot on Super 35 lenses. So this was actually shot on Super 35 lenses. The noise, I think the image is a bit cleaner than the 6. And yeah, it's just a beautiful camera to use. So we still use it in some productions as well, but it is bigger. It does require a bit of a team. This was all on tripod work, as you can tell, and on sliders. So this was a very good camera to use. The FX6 would have been fine, but I mean, with a studio environment, I don't need the high base ISO. And as you know, with a 4K sensor, it's not as good as a 6K sensor when you downsample to 4K. So this is another reason why the quality is better in an FX9. Another benefit to the 6 and the 9, this is the variable ND that I was talking about. So you can see this is the auto ND in action here, where you go from outside to inside and you look at how smooth and seamless this is without having to do any retakes. You can do it once and you get an amazing shot. This was taken off the internet. I don't own credit to this video, but as you can see, it's a beautiful example of how it can work. And here you can see how the ND can work with high and low base ISO. So I'll just go back to this. So here we're in low base ISO here, and we're putting the ND up, and I can go to high base ISO, and the image is still in its native form, and I can use the ND higher up as well. So you've got a really huge range from playing with the high and low base ISO and the NDs. It can really give you so much control with how bright or dark you want the image. So again, really amazing bit of kit. And lastly, the big cameras, the Burano, Venice 1 and Venice 2. These cameras are the ultimate cameras in the fleet. The Venice 1 came out. This is what inspired the Cinema Line. The Venice had so many years of engineering and development in it, and all the color science and the little bits that you see in the Venice have trickled down into the cameras. So you've got to owe kind of the whole Cinema Line due to this camera. The Venice was so successful that the Venice 2 shortly came a few years later. And now the Venice 2, just in some of the specs, it does 8K, it does internal XOCN, which is the Sony's RAW, 16-bit internal. It's very smooth to work with. As mentioned, you can edit it using a MacBook Air. It has the Rialto, which is the little adapter that puts on the front, enables you to extend and put it in very tight spaces. And it's got built-in NDs and loads of other tricks as well. Where the Burano stands out probably above the Venice is that it has a lot of auto functions, which we'll show you a bit later on. So it has a variable ND, as you can see here. It's got autofocus. So you take this PL mount off, and behind it exists the E-mount sensor. So you can put some regular G-Master glass, something you maybe have owned from the FX3. So if you're FX3 owners in the room, and you've got a few 2470s or G-Master primes that you want to use, you can hire this out, put that lenses on it. You don't have to worry about hiring full frame glass because we know how expensive that is. And you can do your production with your own lenses just by changing the body. So this is the point of the ecosystem. So the Burano, I think, is going to make some massive, massive waves when that gets launched in March. Here's something we did with the Venice 2. So this was something we did with golf. Now, fun little fact about this shoot, you probably won't notice it, but the grade's a bit peculiar because the car actually was delivered to us in the wrong color. It's not golf blue, it was a very dark blue when it arrived. And that was a mistake due to the client. But thankfully, with the Venice 2, it gave us so much information in the XOCN that we were able to kind of color correct the car and not muck up the film grade too much. And we had that ability in DaVinci to flex and kind of adjust it so it fitted more the brand colors. There are a few shots where you can see it off, but obviously I think we've done a pretty good job of keeping it its original livery. And this was a 2-day shoot done with a huge team across Dubai. I've got some BTS content here which I'll show you. So as you can see, in terms of a workforce, to run a camera like this, you've got a massive infrastructure and crew behind you. We had this obviously on dollies, we had like first ACs, because obviously the Venice 2 has not got any autofocus function, so everything is manual. We were shooting in the full 8K resolution, so we had some beautiful, beautiful lenses, great and low light as well. And as you can see, there's lots of cool shots here. We've got some really cool tracking stuff later on as well. We had a big ultimate arm here. You can see the color of the car here being a lot darker, so you can see how different that looks from the actual grade. So this client came from the UK, and yeah, it was very successful. One of golf's best campaigns they've ever done. I don't know if anyone's seen this video on the internet, but yeah, this was all done on the Venice. Really, really cool. Anyway, so we'll just take a quick break now. I want you guys to get up, walk around, have a little play with the cameras. We are going to go into more detail with it, but I want to take this opportunity now for you guys to walk around them. Omar, our boxer, is going to just do some sparring. Feel free to pick them up. Try and keep them on the tripods, actually, because I think some of them are plugged in. But yeah, just feel free to have a little look around. And if we can come back in like 5 to 10 minutes, get a drink. I'm here if you have any questions. Thank you, guys. All right. Yeah.
Hi, I'm George.
George, what's me, mate?
For your drone shots, did you use a Cinelifter with like an FX3?
No, so they weren't, the drone shots weren't the FX30, they were just DJI drones. So they weren't, yeah, so they weren't, that wasn't part of it. Yeah, they did. I mean, yeah, DJI are doing some really good stuff now. The D-Log they have, and great, yeah, so we have a cool.
Since the Mavic 1?
I think we were using the Inspire 2, so yeah, a bit different. And it had RAW as well. Yeah. So yeah, so you're DP?
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. What do you shoot with currently?
Shocker, Panasonic.
Do you? Okay, that's good. That's how you use it though, right? Hi.
Johnson from Bahrain.
Nice to meet you, mate. How you doing? You okay? Cool, awesome.
Can I take a picture with you?
Yeah, sure, yeah, sure.
My take a picture for us?
Yeah, sure. You come all the way over from Bahrain?
Yes.
Not just for this, I hope.
And we hope that not being cancelled.
Yeah, I know. I'm so unfortunate. Huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. Are you Kuwaiti or?
I'm with Sada.
Hi.
My name's Sada. Store
Nice to meet you.
for camera equipment in Bahrain.
Oh, great. Lovely to meet you, sir. How you doing? Cool.
And with other two friends, Haider and Hamid, they are.
You have FX3 and A7 Mark IV.
Oh, right. Okay. Awesome stuff.
For me, I'm using A7R4.
Right. These are enough.
I'm using that. I have an issue with. I'm photographer, videographer.
Yeah.
I started recently 4 years ago.
Okay, great. Awesome. Yeah. No, we have the R4. We use it all of our photography shoots. I think it's an amazing
But
camera.
He's sponsoring us to brought us here to spend a lot of money with
Great.
Cine Line.
Oh, great.
He's the cause.
Well, I mean, if you have any questions, let me know. Because, like, as mentioned, like, one thing people think is the 30s and the 3s are for new people, and it's not. Like, I use them all the time. I mean, that Michelin asset, I think, is one of the best productions we've done this year, and it came out really nice. So, yeah.
Yeah, I can see the 30. I was in expectation
Yeah.
that will come out
Yeah.
that way. I thought the 30 is. Yeah, I know the crop is good actually for video,
Yeah.
especially with the low light.
Yeah. I mean, it is going to be challenged compared to the 3. But, I mean, if you're outdoors.
But mostly of the reviews is coming out like for FX3 and S3 big difference.
Yeah, well,
What do you think about that? Mostly as your
the problem with the S3 is,
S2 and S3 is like no difference.
I mean, there isn't. I mean, if you've got an S3 or if you've got an FX3, I'm not going to advise you to change it. I mean, there's no point.
No, yeah, but isn't there is no difference?
What do you define as difference? Because ergonomically,
Because
it's very
same
different.
Sensor, same
Yeah.
sensor, same like everything.
Yeah.
But the body's like different.
I wouldn't. If you got an S3, don't get the 3. I don't think there's any point. You're right. The quality's the same, and that's what I'm trying to get at. A lot of people just are viewing these cameras on what's the quality difference, but they're all really good. Honestly, like if you showed your mum a video of the FX30 and the Venice 2, she wouldn't know.
No, yeah, exactly.
And so that's what you have to understand. Yeah, just like 2, 3, 4 minutes. Is that right? Yeah. Sorry, yeah. So I mean, we just have to decide on what we feel is more beneficial, you know, for your trade. But yeah, no, if you've got the S3, it's a great camera.
I'm planning for
Planning?
a camera. For the
If you're doing photo as well as video, I mean, the FX30 I think is a great camera. It's really affordable as well. It's a good entry level. I always use it. I mean, otherwise the FX6 is a phenomenal video camera. I think that's the strongest.
In Bahrain, most videographers, they like the FX3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For me, the FX3 is so close to the FX6 in terms of price point. I don't know why people don't get the 6, because you make your money back much quicker. Because you got NDs, you got XLR, and you can charge more as a DP if you got a 6. So your money's made back within 3 or 4 shoots. And you got
You're talking about
yeah.
Kuwait, that's different. To be
Yeah.
honest, that in Bahrain or
Yeah.
like totally different, big challenge, big
Yeah,
market.
sure, yeah, sure.
To get the job of it, he's owning FX3.
Haider, yeah.
How you doing? You got a 3, yeah? Are you enjoying it, the FX3? Yeah, very nice. Yeah, it's a good camera. Really good camera. Cool. Had a little, you had a look at the Burano?
He was Canon.
Oh, you were Canon before. Why did you move? Just curious.
R6. From R6 to A7S first.
Yeah.
Then A7 Mark IV and FX3.
Oh, okay.
I like the G1 Starlens 51.2.
Yeah, it's lovely. Have you tried the 1.4 though? 4 is also lovely.
I like the 1.2 more.
Yeah.
It's more quality.
Yeah, I mean, it will give you a different look. It's amazing, the 0.2 difference. So yeah. Yeah, cool.
So did you try? Which camera?
You okay? How you doing?
Islam.
Islam, nice to meet you, mate.
I ask you for because skin tone every time it's greenish yellow. How
On what camera?
FX3.
FX3. Okay. Well, you can you can add tints. No, you can do that. With when you're on the camera settings, you can play with the tints to change the color tone.
No, we don't touch camera. Just white balance and location.
Yeah, so you can add tints, but the color science is so. Are you shooting S-Log3?
Yes, S-Log.
Yeah, so the color science, it should give you that freedom in DaVinci to correct that. You do?
Yes.
You still struggle with the yellow skin tones?
Which one?
You still struggle with the yellow skin tones,
Yes,
do you?
yeah,
Okay.
and greenish. I don't know how to make this one.
Okay, well, I mean, there's definitely some way to do it, I'm sure, because a lot of people do use it. But I mean, I would say that it's probably down to either maybe the tints that you get on set. I mean, are you shooting in the same environment every time? Is it always yellow?
Sometimes, but more than yellow and green.
Right.
When you're shooting makeup.
Makeup, okay.
Makeup is very
right.
Light yellow, greenish.
Can I suggest you try something? Try shooting in Cinetone.
Cinetone?
Yeah, don't shoot log sometimes, because especially if you're shooting in a dark scenario, Cinetone, it really is a very like skin tone colored friendly color science.
Not sharp in same.
I mean, it won't give you the freedom of S-Log, but Cinetone is a fantastic color science to use. Yeah, we'll talk a bit about that.
Sorry, can you keep your account?
Yeah, sure, yeah.
Just I'll mention you.
Tim
Then
F.
I'll follow you as well.
There we go. Cool.
Okay.
Right. Hello, how you doing, Tim?
I'm very fine. I'm wondering, I'm a Nikon user. I'm using
Oh, you're a Canon user?
Yeah,
okay.
Nikon, not a Canon. Nikon.
Okay.
So I was wondering, I want to go for next level. I have the 810.
Okay.
So I was planning to get the 850
right.
as a Nikon.
Right.
But I was thinking about the Sony as well.
Yeah.
So I'm a food photographer.
Yeah, food photographer, okay.
Yeah, I'm planning to go for the product photography,
yeah.
jewelry and all.
Yeah.
So what's your advice? As a camera and as...
Okay, yeah. What challenges do you have with the Nikons at the minute?
For my own camera right now, the monitor, the screen monitor, I cannot move it because I have difficulty, especially going from up to view.
Yeah.
So I'm having some issues there.
Yeah. Because so Nikon have released the Z mount now. You know,
yes.
Yeah. So their whole ecosystem's changed.
Yeah. The more or less. So
I would say for anyone transitioning away from a brand to another brand, my honest advice, this is not me Sony talking, is that you do want to try it before you buy it. I think you need to probably rent one. Try the actual camera itself, because for you the ergonomics and the quality of it is important. Sure. So before jumping ship, you want to make sure you're comfortable. Okay. And I think it's worth spending a bit of money just hiring the gear for 2 or 3 shoots to make your mind up. Because I think transitioning, it's a big investment for anyone. Because you've probably got lots of Nikon glass.
Yeah,
you probably got, have you got 1 or 2 bodies?
2 body right now.
Yeah, so it's a big jump, isn't it?
Yes.
Changing to Sony.
Yes. Even if the lenses handle, it will be costly.
Yeah.
So if I'm going to go for Sony,
yeah.
Which one I prefer?
You're not doing any video at all?
Very rare.
I'll do the A7R5.
R5.
R5 is phenomenal. Yeah. It's the benefit is it's the highest resolution, and you can choose if you decide to not do food photography, you do an event, you can choose your different RAW sizes, but it also does 8K video, and it's got a screen that it goes to vlog, it can tilt up and down. It's got the best screen that I've ever seen in a compact camera, the R5, A7R5. Rent that, give that a go, and I think you'll be blown away.
Sure.
Yeah. Cool.
Thanks so much.
No worries, man.
Appreciate it.
We're here all night. Cheers.
Thank you so much.
Hi.
You
okay.
But I'm a Canon user.
Yeah.
And I do like cinematic vlogs, not
cool.
Like in YouTube and stuff like that. So
yeah.
I really want to give a Sony try. Would you think I should switch to Sony?
I would, but I mean, again, as I just gave that advice, I mean, if you've got lots of equipment that's with Canon already, I think it's important that you try different bodies to figure out what you like, because Sony have a camera for almost everything. It's a bit overwhelming, I think, with the amount of cameras they have. If you're doing lots of vlogging, you want something small and compact, or you want something, what do you want, something that will last you for bigger productions? What is it you need?
Actually, I saw many of like A7C, A7R,
yeah.
those things. I was like, because some of my friends, they do have the same
camera. Yeah.
And they used to always tell me, nah, Sony's better. Like,
yeah. Well, the C2 is really good. We were using it. It's basically an A7 IV, the A7 C2, exactly. But it's got AI focusing technology.
That's really cool, because my camera now is lacking from eye tracking. And
so the A7 C2 is an awesome bit of kit. It does get a bit hot because it's smaller, but I mean, if you're not shooting out in the sun and 50 degrees, you're fine. So you're good. So I mean, again, try a few bodies. I think if you're doing video, do.
Cinematic vlogs and short films, actually.
Well, then try the. I mean, I don't know what do you have a sort of budget in mind or that you want to spend?
Not now. Inshallah, after a couple of few months, because I'm still deciding and still.
if you're cost sensitive, which is fine, I think the FX30 is a phenomenal camera.
I love that because they used to say it's not a
Yeah.
full frame, so it's not going to be good.
Yeah, well, even if it's not full frame, when it's not full frame, you've got to remember the lenses are also cheaper. So like you can get some really amazing, like more affordable APS-C lenses for it. You get a set of 3 primes on that camera for almost the same price as an FX3. So again, the shift from where you are to where you want to be, it's easier. And the FX30 will be a good camera for years, you know, and you can always upgrade it and get another one. But the 3 is going to be much better in terms of low light, and it is full frame. Yeah. We'll probably continue with the workshop now.
Thank you so
No
much.
worries.
Can I take your account?
Yeah, sure, of course.
Yeah, I'd like to follow
No
you.
worries. Sorry about the sound issues at the beginning. There we go.
It's really okay.
Should we get everyone in?
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. Okay, any questions? Oh.
Just one.
Sure.
One question. When you put lots in Atmos monitor,
Yeah.
it's not accurate for Sony. Not color.
No, Atomos will be different.
Different, right?
Yeah, it will be different. Yeah, I think small HD is quite good. So I use small HD normally.
Small HD, same?
Yeah. But I mean, I just use it for like framing. Normally, I would always trust the thing is when you're dealing with 30, the monitor's very small.
Yes.
When you go to the 6, the Burano or the Venice or the FX9, the monitors are much better.
Yes, I mean, but when you put monitor Atmos,
That's maybe why you're getting skin tone issues, because you're probably exposing for the Atomos. You're probably adjusting the color for
yes,
the...
false color. I make a false color, but,
Yeah.
I mean, the not same color, same anything.
Yeah.
I am search for the same light.
Yeah.
S-Log3.
Sure. I'll tell you what, send me a DM, I'll do some research for you and I'll find the answer for you, because I do... Yeah, yes.
Something.
Yeah, sure, show me.
Video.
Sure.
The last one.
Can you help me get everyone back to the seat? Are you right to help get everyone back to the seats? Yeah.
The last one, I make this shoot
Yeah.
at outdoor.
Oh, this is nice.
Thank you. This is I make 3 lenses.
Yeah.
My key 15 is cine lenses.
And using Primus filters as well?
Yes, right. And this shoot 14 Sigma.
Right. Okay.
2.1.
Yeah. Okay. Lovely.
Yes, I mean. And other one 15. 50 Mike.
Yeah. Okay.
22.1.
Nice.
Yes, I mean.
It's beautiful.
Thank you. This is outdoor is different style.
Yeah.
And this one in Egypt, not here, because the lighting
This is gorgeous.
very nice.
Wow. Yeah.
It's
Beautiful.
Very nice. Exposure is good.
Yeah.
And atmosphere is very nice.
I think these look okay.
Yes, here it's okay.
Yeah. You have to play with it.
Makeup, it's accurate.
Yeah.
Not same skin.
I think you need to find a LUT that works for you as like a base, and then you just basically have to go from there. I'm not a color grader, so I can't advise you.
This, I mean the color
Yeah.
on camera.
Yeah.
Not
The camera.
same.
Good. Okay. I'm going to start. We'll continue.
Yes.
All right. Cool. Okay, guys, we're going to start again now, if it's okay, guys. Cool. So, part 2 to this workshop is to go over the compact cameras of the Cine line. So we're going to talk a bit more about the FX30, the 3, the FX6, and the FR7. Now, we'll be doing a demonstration with them a bit later, so I can show you what they actually look like. I don't know if anyone had a chance to get around, but I'll show you actually physically on the screen. So first of all, the FX30. As mentioned, it's a 26 megapixel 6K sensor. Now, it doesn't give you 6K. I need to stress this because people think a 6K sensor doesn't give you 6K. Why 6K sensor? So basically, most cameras in the market today, they have something called a Bayer sensor. A Bayer sensor is where you obviously have almost different receptors inside the sensor that take in green, red, and blue information. So if you have a 4K pixel sensor, you can't get 4K of green, 4K of red, and 4K of blue. It's impossible. So any 4K sensor cannot give you a true 4K image. This is why the FX30 is particularly special. So the FX3 and the FX6 technically can give you 4K. Technically, it's like 3.2K of information. The FX30 can, it downsamples, so it gives you a true 4K image. So in the correct lighting and in the correct setting, the FX30 technically should give you a better quality image. So even though it's the cheapest in the fleet, it's not the worst at all. Now, there are many ways to judge the cinema cameras, and I'm going to give you I'm going to give a score to each of these at the end of the workshop. But can we just pass this around, guys? Have a little look. So this is why I particularly love the FX30 the most, was due to the sensor. So it also does 4K 120 FPS. This is cropped, though, so the FX3 has an advantage over this. Still 10-bit 422 XAVCS-I. It can do 16-bit raw output, which is amazing for a camera of this size. Has inbuilt image stabilization, which means that if you're wanting like a push-in shot and you don't have a gimbal, you can put it into active and you get a very smooth shot. Sorry? I'm not too sure. Do you know how many axis it is? Is it 5 axis? 5 axis? Yeah, 5. And also anti-flicker. So the FX3 doesn't have anti-flicker, or the FX6. So I was filming in an event the other day, and the screen was like strobing like God knows what, and I couldn't get it to. I was on other cameras. I was changing the shutter speed to whatever I could, and it was still strobing. And with this, you can have an anti-flicker, so you can go down by like micro degrees on the shutter angle. So this is a really good feature. So target audience for this camera would be new DPs to the market. People that are maybe wanting to get into the cinema line, maybe jumping from another brand, don't want to spend too much, they want to just play it safe. This is a good camera for that. I would say experienced shooters or production houses who own a lot of Super 35 glass. So I've got a lot of lenses when I used to use the FS7s and the FS5s. Don't know if anyone has those cameras, but those lenses will just pop straight on this and they'll work really well. Did anyone have an FS7? Did anyone use that? No? Well, there was a camera, the camera basically came with this kit lens actually no, it was the FS5. It came with an 18-105 kit lens, which works really well on this. I was filming boats the other day, handheld, and the shots came out really smooth. So that was a really good find. And the last person I'd say is generally people wanting a compact form factor. So again, if you are a gimbal user, want something small and nimble, this is a great camera for you. Benefits, so just to summarize the 4 benefits, Super 35, 6K, the price, and the megapixel. It also does photos. It's probably out of the cinema line the camera that has the highest resolution photos. So you can put it into photo mode, you get a 26 megapixel still. With the FX3, you get a 12. And the other cameras above it don't do photos. So just keep that in mind. Good little perk. What it's challenged by is that in low light, it's only got a high base ISO of 2500. So it will be it is the worst, effectively, in the fleet. And because it's APS-C, your noise is larger. So the grain that you get when you pump up ISO when you're shooting in low light, it's more prominent on Super 35mm sensors. So that's why full frame is beneficial. Type of productions you'd use this for would be events, social content, travel camera, small budget, commercials, etc. FX3, so massive jump down on the sensor. But a smaller sensor means that you can get better low light performance. So this is deliberate. Do not think just because it's smaller, it's worse. It's not. It's full frame, so your depth of field is better. So if I shot you on a 50mm, for example, on the FX30 versus the FX3, obviously you have got the crop factor, but if I adjusted my frame to make it look similar, the depth of field would be better on a full frame. Plus your field of view is wider. IBIS, just like the FX30, and the dual base ISO, it's the low light king. So the FR7, the FX6, the A7S III, and the ZV-E1, sorry, I forgot to exclude that. These all carry the same sensor and the same sensitivity. So there are 4 cameras in the Sony ecosystem that have this low light shooting capability. So even if you guys are not interested in the cinema line and you have something very, very tight in terms of a budget, you can still get this sensor in a ZV-E1. You don't get a lot of the perks of the cinema line, but you get the sensor. Target audience would be experienced freelancers wanting compact. I'm saying wanting compact because for me, this is my view, I think the FX6 is a much better investment because it is more expensive, but only by a bit. If you're an experienced shooter, that incremental difference on price, I think, warrants the FX6 features. But the sensor's the same, so you have to keep that in mind. Also someone who needs low light, so again, event shooters and production houses wanting compact form factors. So these are really good to just truck on drones, truck on gimbals. If you are a production team and you need a lot of cameras, these are really good. And they're going to match the FX6s perfectly. So again, a very powerful little camera. Benefits, size, autofocus, slow motion. So it does autofocus up to 120 frames per second in 4K. So that's pretty special, and not many cameras can focus quickly at 120 frames per second or 100, depending if you're shooting PAL. And obviously, it's still cheaper compared to the rest of the Cine line. I would say, challenged by the Super 35 is only possible to be done in HD. So that's one of the challenges you have to keep in mind, and the price is close to the 6. I mean, the 30 and the 3 is a massive jump. The jump between the 3 and the 6 isn't so much. Type of production, so an AB cam to FR7, 6, ZV-1, A7S3, high quality travel work, documentary, rigging or gimbal work. This is the sort of camera I would use it for. Anyone seen this film? Yeah? Everyone like it? Anyone see it? No? So in case you haven't, it's not like an amazing film in terms of the plot and stuff, but it is quite a testament to the industry at the minute. Reason being is that the creator film, it's in cinemas. I think it may have just left, but you can try and find a copy to download, or it will come out on Netflix, I'm sure, soon. This was shot entirely on the FX3. So this is a big deal because an FX3 that is about, like, what's it, what are they, $5,000 to $6,000? I don't know what it is here, but it's something that was made to be used for a feature, and they shot the entire film on it. Obviously, they use lots of different rigging equipment and different lenses, but a small body, a camera that you can buy in AAB, produced a feature film. Now, what does that say? Well, it means the big flagship cameras, like the big brands like Arri, Red, even the Venice and stuff, it makes you realize that, okay, we've got little cameras now that can produce some phenomenal images. So again, if you know how to use it well and you have a big production, these things are not excluded from the game now. You can buy something, do social media content, and if you go out and you plan to use it well, do something really high production value with it. FX6. So very similar to the 3. It's pretty much got the same internals as a 3. There are a few differences. This is an MXF container format. The FX3 is an MP4. The sensor's a 12.1 megapixel sensor. This is a mistake. I apologize. It doesn't have IBIS. It's actually, the sensor's locked, but this is actually beneficial because you can change the metadata later. I'm sorry I've included that. Still high dual base ISO, variable ND, massive benefit to the FX3 because you have the ability to change the ND to any kind of strength you want. XLR handle unit, so you have 2 XLRs on the side, and you've got a handy handle grip, which makes things really easy for you to operate and use. Target audience for this would be experienced freelancers. Again, wanting compact, you can stick this on a gimbal really easily. With a little prime, take the XLR handle off, you've got a compact camera. This thing weighs, I don't even think 300 grams without a battery in it. It's tiny. Production houses, ages, and even rental companies. So as rental companies, feel free to go, even if you don't want to buy one of these, I definitely recommend you rent one and you try it out because the ergonomic benefits of an FX6 makes your workflow so fast. This is the camera I use the most. For me, it's my favorite. So this was something we shot with the FX6. The slow-mo is insane. This is all autofocus, 120 frames per second. Really cool. So yeah, lock sensor. So this is, the lock sensor is really good because you can do shots like this. With an FX3 or an FX30 or any camera that has IBIS, when you like grip it or rig it to something, it does, if there's a lot of vibration or if it's like on a drone or a car that vibrates a lot, you'll get this like wobble jello effect. And that's impossible to eliminate with cameras that have IBIS. Has anyone noticed when you turn your camera off and the sensor kind of slops down? That's because the IBIS isn't working. And when you turn it on, it goes back to being straight. So the FX6 doesn't have that. It has a lock sensor. Now, it doesn't mean that you can't leverage it. It records metadata into the files. So you can go to a software like Catalyst Prepare, which is a Sony software, and you can choose how much crop you want in, and it's using metadata captured in the file. It's not warp stabilization. It's very different. So you gain the benefits of IBIS, but it's something you can do in post. So other benefits, obviously, beats most in its competition. I don't know many cameras FX6 money-wise in terms of other brands that I think beat the FX6. Really do mean that, honestly, hand on heart. I've put 2,000 hours on my FX6, and I've used a lot of other cameras that are similar to the FX6. And honestly, not being biased because I'm a Sony ambassador, I do think it rings round most things. So yeah, if you've not used one, I recommend you do. Yeah, and I've built it up to do commercials with it. But yeah, so as mentioned, challenge Super 35 only in HD. No IBIS built in, Catalyst Prepare, so it's an extra workflow step. Types of productions, high-end events, commercials, extreme stunt or rigging. It's the everyday workhorse. Right, so demonstration hands-on. So I'm going to ask my trusty assistant, can you flick over to the FX30 first? And Omar, can we have you on the bag, please? We're going to go on the FX30. Can we go on that one? Do you know which one this is? Can you take it out? You can move, yeah. Can everyone hear me still over here? Is the microphone working? I might have to turn this up a bit. Right, I'll let you get this switched over before I go over. So, I'm going to nip over there, guys. You can stay here. We'll put this on the screen now. Just to talk a bit about this setup. So this is an FX30. Nothing special. It has the 50mm 1.2 on it. There's no other gadgets. And what I'm going to show you the quality when shooting. So, can we get this switched over on here so we can see what's going on? Right. I'm going to so I'm going to go over to Omar now. We're going to do some shooting. So this, I'm going to film everything on 1.2, guys, and you're going to see what this looks like in terms of its autofocus, so shooting capabilities. So as you can see, I'm not even touching the lens, and the autofocus is very responsive. You can't see my screen, but you can even touch the screen and choose the subjects you want to focus on. So press the punch bag right now. It won't go to him. I can press the punch bag, and I can actually have him in shot, and it won't go to him. This is another one of the benefits of Sony. I can literally just press the monitor, and it focuses. Go back to him, and it all does with eye tracking. There we go. So that's a quick demonstration of what the FX30 looks like. Looks pretty decent, and this is the lowest camera in the fleet. You put this back. We get the 3 out. Actually, what we'll do can we just put this back on a second here? Put this back on. Pass.
Back on. I'll take this one.
Yeah. No, leave this off. I want to do a side-by-side comparison of the two. So leave this on for the minute. Just put this back on. Can you go over and put the 30 and the 3 and the 30? I'm going to ask you to switch between. So what I'm going to do now, guys, is I'm going to put these two cameras side by side, and I'm going to match their settings. I'm going to put them in the same aperture. I'm going to put them in both the low base ISO setting. I'll match the shutter to adjust just for the exposure. And I'm going to show you the difference in the low light capability of the 3 versus the 30. So which one are we on here? Which is that one? This is the 3. Okay, so. Right, guys, so you have to pardon my poor settings. I'm going to put this on a very high shutter just to simulate a dark environment. I'm then going to go and show you the high base ISO and show you the difference of the quality. Okay, and then we're going to go to the 30 and see the difference. Right, let me just get this up. So let me get the settings right here. This is 1.4. This is also a 50mm. I'm going to put this to 8,000. So guys, my settings at the minute on the FX3, which is this one, they're both 8,000 shutter, 1.4 aperture, 800 ISO, which is the native low base. Can you flick between the two? Now, if you can see, the crop factor is very different. But I'm going to now show you the difference between the high and the low base. So we go to the FX30 first. This is the 30. This is good. Stay on the other one. Go to the other camera, please, the FX30. Go to the FX30. That's it, yep. Right, so the ISO for this That's now high base ISO. That's 800, 2500. Okay? Let's go to the FX3. Okay, this is 800 ISO. This is now the high base ISO. See, the difference is massive. Now, obviously, this is blown out, but you can see how different the latitude and the actual quality of the camera is still very. This is both clean, both sensor shots are the native ISO, but the FX3 is much better in low light. Okay, I put this back to 800. The FX6 now and show you this. Can we go to the FX6? Right, just take a second, Omar. Just going to get this FX6 working. So this is on a 35mm, and I'm going to show you the power of the ND here and the low base ISO here as well. I'll turn this one on. So what I particularly love about the FX6, so just to walk you through it, this is basically an FX3. Now, this is much more user-friendly. First of all is the grip. You've got something that can rotate. You've got zoom, so if you have a servo zoom lens, you can leverage that. You've got a dial which you can use to turn the ND up and down, which you can see. You can use it to change iris or shutter speed or ISO, whatever you want. That's all multifunctional. You've got menu buttons here, so your right hand doesn't have to leave the grip. You've also got controls on the handle. This is it, yeah. And it's got touchscreen. So I'm not going to touch focus. I'm not going to touch the lens. And obviously you can select who I want to focus on by just pressing on the screen. So the guy in the back, go to the lady here, go to the guy here with the thing, go to the guy at the front. So I can, just by simply just pressing on the monitor or flicking between the joystick, who I want to focus on. And it selects the person I want. So if I'm filming maybe a stage or filming someone on stage and I want to focus on this guy's face only, doesn't matter who else comes in my shot, it will stay on him. A room full of faces, which most cameras would freak out and they'd be jumping between faces. This is one amazing feature the FX6 also does. Now let's go to our talented Omar, and I'll show you the power of the ND. Because I had to use the shutter speed, obviously, on the other cameras because they didn't have NDs on. So this is low base ISO. As you can see, it's quite bright. We're at 1.4. I'm going to put the ND on. And as you can see, I can scroll from the bottom left the ND strength, which means I can go really, get my image really dark. Now, if I go to high base ISO again, just to remind you how bright that's high base ISO, guys. Look at the difference. And I'm on ND 16. I can go to all the way to ND 128, and it's still over. Very easy to get awesome content with cameras like this because they do all the hard work for you. Now, I'm doing this loosely while presenting to you guys, just holding the camera and pointing it. And you can see the quality. Everything looks really clean. I've got ultimate freedom on the exposure. The ND's super quick. And like this alone is worth the increment. Just this ND alone is just worth the difference. Forgetting the fact you've got loads of other benefits like the XLRs and etc. So this is my favorite camera in the fleet. Cool. We're going to move to another quick break. I want you guys particularly to play with the FR7, which is like the FX6, FX3s, FX30s, and we'll just have another quick walk around, a little hands-on play. Omar, you're okay to go again? Yeah. Cool. Guys, you want to have a little hands-on play again? I want you to play with the settings. The high base ISO for the 30 is 2.5. FX3 is 12,800. Anyone have a play? Yep. Cool. Any questions? Come to me. Feel free. You had to play with a 3? You got a 3, haven't you? Yeah. Oh, you got a 3, so you know what it's like. Do you want to try the 6?
Why not?
Yeah, how's the 6 here? Have a little play with it.
I want to ask,
yeah.
I have the Alpha one, which I usually use for underwater videography.
Yeah.
That's my mainly focus or my mainly
yeah.
line of work.
Yeah.
So I want to know how, like I own both the Alpha one and A7S III. So I was interested to get the FS6 to use some, because we do some documentary filmmaking as well. So it's something that we can use and run and gun type of thing.
Yeah.
So I will think about the FX6.
Yeah.
So I just want to know how it's different in video settings from Alpha 1.
I mean, with the high base ISO, it's much higher. So your low light's going to be... what's the high base in A1?
A1, it's I think 1200.
Oh, 12,800?
Yeah.
Oh, it's the same?
Yeah.
Oh, forgive me.
I think so.
Okay, no.
I remember.
Okay, well, I haven't used the A1 very much, so apologies for that. So, but I mean, so then...
It's the same as A7S III, right?
Maybe.
I think they are all of them.
I'll have to check on it. Okay. But obviously, your sensor's not as big. Okay. So obviously, you're not shooting 8K.
Yeah.
But in terms of a 4K, I mean, again, it's more of an ergonomics boost. People think the FX6 is better quality. It isn't any different to this. It's the same camera. It's just the ergonomics make it much more fun. Putting this on and putting an auto ND on and just like playing with it, it's just like it's a game changer. It really is. It just enables everything to be a lot more. Like you literally can dial the exact strength you want.
Yeah.
I mean, it's bonkers, and in that respect, you have that level of freedom, and that makes it more run and gun and more faster.
Yeah.
Like you can see how like I can get probably 10 times more shots in my day with this than an FX3. That's what you're paying for.
Yeah.
The quality is the same. It's apples for apples, pretty much.
So it's just the sensor that's like actually true 4K. That's the difference between it and the Alpha one.
Yeah. So the Alpha one would give you a true 4K image. This wouldn't. But when I say true 4K, I'm really being picky. Like, no one's going to notice.
Yeah.
Because every camera has this problem. It's not a Sony problem. Like, if a Nikon says it's 4K and it's a 4K sensor, it's not a 4K image. Mm-hmm. This is why ARRI have 2.7K. So, you know, ARRI, they have 2.7K. That's true HD, technically. Mm-hmm. So that's 1920 by 1080. Okay. So that's what the 2.7K yeah, so that's, I mean, for you, I think it's just a case of trying it out and just, you're buying the ergonomics. The run and gun's much easier.
Yeah.
I mean, you can run around.
Like cages.
Yeah.
Handles and
you can build it up to be a commercial. I mean, also it's an optics thing. If you can on a shoot with this rigged up, the client thinks they're getting more value for money, but we know A1 is better, technically. Yeah. But clients don't know that. So
I really have like my, I have Polar Pro, the base cam type filters. So I usually put it. It's quite big.
Yeah.
So, but it's hard every time it's changing filter. The ND filters.
Yeah, it's a pain.
Yeah. So that's why I was thinking of getting this instead of using the ND filters. But I just wanted to know the difference when it comes to the quality from A7S III or Alpha 1.
It's not. I mean, the A1 is going to be better quality if you want to measure it in quality. But again, it depends on your outputs. If you're going...
The thing is, I think in A1, the maximum frames per second are 24. You can't go more than that in 8K.
Yeah.
120 and...
but your 4K is going to be better quality.
Yeah.
Because you're downsampling.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is upscaling, so it's it's adding information that's not there.
Yeah.
The A1 is not. But I mean, you know, the A1 is going to be superior in many areas, but it depends on what your set's going. I don't think the majority of us produce content that leaves mobile phones. I think most of our stuff ends up on mobile phones now. Sure. So the quality is not really an argument. Mm-hmm. For you, are you going to save 20% of your day by having this over the A1? I would say yes. Mm-hmm. Now, is that more important to you? Yes, because it means you're home to your partner. It means that you've got less time changing filters. You're getting more shots. The client's getting happier. So that's the value. We forget that it's not about the creative. It's how to make it easier for ourselves. I mean, you saw me fumbling with these two cameras now, and I picked this up, and I was like, look how much shots I'm getting. Yeah, it's so much easier. Yeah. So that's the benefit of it. This is why I think it's amazing.
All right. Cool.
Cool. All right.
Thank you very much.
Cool. Thanks. Okay.
I am using the S3, Sony
A7S3?
Yes.
Cool.
But for upgrade, that's confused me.
What do you do? Videos-wise?
A little bit commercial.
Yeah.
But I want to upgrade now. I am in the process for short film.
Yeah.
Or like that.
Yeah.
So this type of my goal for productivity, because when I learn for the commercial, I want to know the features, how to use it, not doing for long term as a commercial.
Yeah.
Going for the short movie. And Okay. But the upgrade, that make me confused.
Your upgrade to me is very easy. The FX6.
FX6, I mean. Okay.
Because your A7S III acts as a second camera, and the sensor's the same, so it's good.
Okay. But
yeah. So, what's confusing?
If I take it right now, the camera it's released before 4 years, or around 5 years. Okay?
Yeah.
But the type of marketing of Sony, you know, for example, FX3 release it. What a difference! Even the grip and the XLR. After 2 years or 1 year, they have a major upgrade, a major firmware. They change the play because that Sony still. It's always confused me what to upgrade.
Yeah.
Now I'm going for the scene line.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
Yeah. So you're wanting to get into more feature and docu commercial work?
Yes.
Okay, so remember, forget quality, just put quality aside for a minute. We keep talking about quality. What is more measurable in terms of a set is if the camera is more professional looking to the client. Your clients don't know what you're using.
Because I'm going for the short movie, so no client.
Oh, there's no client.
Yeah.
Okay, so would you benefit from something that's high resolution? Like what are the pain points with your A7S III? What is the pain points exactly? Do you want it to be high res? Do you want it to be
S3? No, it's fine with me.
It's fine?
Yeah, but if I want to make an upgrade, you know, I will not make any upgrade right now till any, you know, if I take a next step and they have an income, then I will go for an upgrade. So if I'm ready to upgrade.
Can I challenge something? Yes. And I'm shooting myself in the foot here. Do you need to upgrade? Or are you just thinking
right now,
you do?
No.
Who's asking you to upgrade?
No, I'm looking around the reviews, I'm looking around features, any camera and
okay,
field,
maybe your upgrade is something much larger than an A7S. Maybe it's not a 6, maybe it's like a Barano. Maybe. I don't know, it depends. Is this paying you well, this industry, or is it more soon?
I'm starting
right
now. But if I need to upgrade, because sometimes some of my friends, when they ask me, how was Sony? As a S3, I'm always.
Do you have how many lenses do you have?
5.
What do you have?
24G.
Yeah.
24/7.
Yeah.
14/24.
Yeah.
85,
yeah.
I think, and probe lens.
The probe lens.
Yes, probe.
Okay.
Yes.
I mean, if you're going to upgrade, I would probably invest in lenses before change your body.
Yeah.
The A's look. Honestly, like you can do so much with an A7S III, it's going to be fine for years. 10 years, the camera's still good. Like, I'm not to be like, again, to shoot ourselves in the foot, but if you know how to use the camera well, it will last you a long time.
Yeah.
Which if you get to grips with, then the upgrade may be obvious when you're at that point. Don't think about upgrading right now. Think about upgrading when you know you need to. Yeah. Now, for you, the upgrade is obvious to me. It's you need a bigger camera to charge more. If you're having a client pay you. If you're just bankrolling the productions yourself, it doesn't matter. Unless you need more resolution or you want the better ergonomics because it's too cumbersome, you don't like the A7S III so much, that's a different conversation. But quality-wise, you're fine.
Yeah, as a quality, because it's same sensor, same motherboard, same
everything,
yes. No,
so I think don't spend the money for the sake of it. Maybe get lenses. Yeah?
So which one you recommend for the beginner scene line lens?
Well, the G Master zooms are the awesome. Yeah, 24-70 Mark II, 7200, and the 1635. They're staples. Those 3 lenses are superb.
Okay, if I go to another factor, like for the scene line.
Scene line, well, you want the G Master. What about primes? The G Master primes.
24 I have. I try.
Yeah, so maybe you could get more G Master primes because, again, you could later on with the Barano in a few years, and all those G Master lenses you buy will be useful for you as an investment. You see?
Yeah.
And the primes, they're like 1.2, 1.4. Right, there's a Venice 2 there with a Zeiss Supreme Prime, 1.5, and then the Barano has a 50mm 1.2 on it. Go tell the difference. I promise you, you won't tell.
No difference.
I mean, minor sway, very little.
Yeah.
So really, but one lens is worth tens of thousands of dollars. One is one's like $2,000. Yeah, it's nothing. So the difference is huge. So again, it's not about quality, it's about ergonomics. Now the benefit to the 1.2 G Master is I can hold the camera and do what I did with the FX6 and it keeps focus. So maybe the lenses is the investment you need to be looking at, not the camera.
It's better than new body. That's what
But again, why do you need a new body? Ask yourself, do you need a new body? Like
right
what's
now, no.
so then this is a
that confused me if I want to upgrade. Because Sony always confused me. I was shooting for around 14-year-old Canon. It's only one camera, 5D Mark II from 2008 till 2019.
Yeah.
And that time I was confused between photograph and videograph.
Yeah.
I take R4.
Yeah.
Then I use it as for a video.
Yeah. Okay.
Then I switched direct to the S3. It
Right.
was an excellent camera for me
Right.
now till what I'm doing right now instead of vlogging or YouTube and social media.
Yeah.
So it's excellent. But sometimes I'm thinking if I want to upgrade.
Yeah.
Because Sony always confusing.
Yeah. Well, but when you come to make the decision, there might be 4 more cameras out. So I think it will comes obvious later. You okay? Thank you, mate. Cheers. How you doing? What's your name?
Hashim.
Hashim. Sharafna.
Yeah?
Sharafna. My name's Tim.
Sharafna.
Yeah.
Sharafna.
Nice to meet you. Yeah.
It's nice also to meet you. And I wanted to talk about, like, I have experience, not here in Kuwait.
Yeah, 5 more minutes, then we'll go. Yeah.
Like, I don't have a lot of experience in Kuwait.
Yeah.
Working here. I'm, you can say, new to the field.
Yeah.
1.5 years working. And I've worked a lot in weddings. I think last year I did 50 weddings.
Wow, okay.
No, not alone. We were a team.
Yeah.
Okay. But yeah, we got the experience. In 1 year, that was a lot in Pakistan. One thing is that I can do groups good. I can do portraits good. But I am not getting good at my editing.
Grading and editing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Photographs. I don't do video. I have been practicing, but I don't know why. Is it also because I cannot sit in front of a computer for a long time?
Okay. What camera are you using right now?
Right now I'm using a Canon RP.
Okay.
Small camera, but it does the work.
Okay. What are you wanting to achieve? Are you want to become a better photo editor or video? Do you want only photo, right?
Yeah, I'm already doing photos.
So photo, you want to stay or you want to do video too?
I want to do video too.
Definitely. Okay. But you want to learn the skill or you just want to grow and make more money? What's the goal for you?
Definitely, it's about the money.
Okay. So it's like me. For me, this is a business.
Yeah.
I love these cameras, but for me, I see dollar signs. So like when I buy one, I'm like, how can I make the most money with it?
Yeah.
Because like, again, I use small cameras on big jobs. It doesn't matter. So for you, if you're not very good at the editing and you want to get better at it, then just you need to do more of it. But if it's about the money for you and you're obviously struggling to get better at editing, then you've got a discipline problem.
Okay.
It's not the equipment.
Okay.
And there's nothing wrong with that. So maybe you just outsource it. You could just become the guy that shoots and then you have a team that edits it. So if you're from Pakistan?
Yeah.
So there's loads of amazing, talented Pakistani editors back in Pakistan.
Yeah,
so you could always send your content and then edit them for you.
Yeah, I've got friends like the one I did work with them.
Yeah.
Okay? And there are excellent editors, but
So
I'm like one who cannot do anything.
Okay, so one thing, like I do lots of mentoring for filmmakers and I've been doing it for like 4 or 5 years. So I've had hundreds of students and one thing that people think we need to do is we always need to learn everything. We don't. We can just be a good cameraman only. It's possible.
Yeah, I'm that kind of a guy that I'm a chef. I know how to work with copper.
Yeah.
I do build, I have...
So master the craft of shooting and outsource your editing. Give it to some guy in Pakistan. Make sure he delivers really good video edits and photo edits and you just become really good at shooting. And the benefit to that is that you can do more shoots because you're not editing. And editing usually is not where the money made, is the production.
Yeah.
So do that, simple. If it's about money for you, do that. Don't try to learn a skill that would take you 5-10 years to make. Because I haven't edited in about 6 months because I've got my team doing it. I'd probably be rubbish now.
Like,
you know, you gotta...
I'm also good at directing.
So focus on what you're good at and outsource the rest. You can't, if you do everything, you can't grow because your time is limited. You've only got 7 days in a week.
Yeah.
So if you do 2 shoots a week and you spend 5 days editing, then you can only do 2 shoots.
Yeah.
But if you have 2-3 editors hired in Pakistan, you can do 5 shoots in a week.
Like even one is enough and we have to pay less to them.
Yeah.
You know, we
Makes
got
sense.
paid less. The pay rates are less.
Yeah.
Like for 1 day event, we used to get around $12. Okay.
Wow.
It is a long day.
Wow.
It was at least 8 hours.
Wow, that's so little.
So yes, I had the experience. So the experience I've got is trustworthy for me.
So if you focus on growing your business skills and your client acquiring skills and then learn to shoot more, you'd probably benefit more financially that way. And then you can invest in better kit and all that sort of stuff, all right?
But For me, acquiring clients is difficult because I have not worked directly with the clients. I have worked in a team. So there was one leader.
Yeah, I understand. Do you want to go, are you freelance now?
Yeah, right now I'm just.
So you just need to practice being freelance more?
Okay.
Yeah. All right?
Thanks a lot.
No worries, man.
I have a question.
Yeah.
It's actually technical.
Hello, how you doing? You okay?
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, mate.
In FX3,
yeah.
I will tell the situation.
Sorry.
It will be a night shot, not too dark, not too bright. So I can use 12,800, but with ND.
Yeah, I do that.
But what if I didn't want to use 12,800 because
you want to go 10,000 or 8,000?
What if it was 3,200 because I have that 12,800. There is a digital noise reduction.
Yeah.
So did I will get better quality if I use, for example, lighting and ISO 3,200, or should be
12,800 and ND. Always, yeah. Because it's native. If you got your FX3, put the sensor cap on it, record a video, and go through it. Look at, and then put the thing on. Okay, great. So, in fact, I'll answer this question now, actually, in front of everyone. Okay, guys. Okay, thank you guys for that. Appreciate it. I had a question in front of everyone. What's your name, sir? Hyatt. Haider. So Haider just asked me a very good question. He's got an FX3, and he was doing a night shoot the other week, and he said, if I'm in 12,800 ISO, it's very bright. So he's using an ND. It's too dark for 800 ISO. Now, this is the disadvantage to having such a big high base ISO. Sometimes it's not usable. Like you saw me with the FX6, the 12,800 is so bright, you don't use it. So he said, is it better to go to a lower ISO, like 3,200 or something? And the answer is no. Haider, I want you to do an experiment when you get home. Put the sensor cap on your FX3 and record a video and go through the ISO. You'll see it get noisier, 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 noisier. And then when you get to 10,000, it's very noisy. And you'll go to 12,800, and it goes clean again. You record it, check it. So this is why it's important for you to leverage NDs when you're using the FX3. NDs, you've got to remember when you screw them onto the lens, you're getting a color change. Or it's not going to be as good as something that's built in. So this is why the FX6 technically is a better camera. Did that answer your question?
I have one more.
Go on, go.
Which one has more quality, 800 ISO or 12,000?
So 800 is going to be better. So it's not identical. The 12,800 high base ISO is not the same. It is a little bit noisier. So you always favor the 800. But it's so minimal, you won't notice. And by the time it reaches this, no one's going to notice. We have to remember, all the content we're shooting, guys, usually is consumed on this now. We're living in a pixel democracy. So this is why people like Ari and Red need to be scared, because FX30s are coming along and they're nailing it. Honestly, all right? We'll go through now the flagships. Was there any other questions before we continue? I know some people are asking me things, they're not getting a chance to see me, so does anyone want to ask some quick questions now? Or do you want to continue?
We just prefer to get some about your clients, how you gain these clients.
Yeah, I can talk about, would some people like to know about that, like getting clients and stuff, yeah? Okay, great, so, sure, go. How do I attract people, basically? Okay, it's a very hard thing to answer that quickly. But what really moved the needle on me getting clients was I think the best thing to do is over-deliver. Actually, it's three things. I call it ECV, okay? The first thing is you have to be extraordinary. Because the biggest way for us to grow as filmmakers and to get more clients is to acquire word of mouth. Referrals is how we get most of our business. You're not going to get it by doing an advert or, knocking on doors. It's going to be very hard. I'm sure we've all sent the cold emails. I'm sure we've all gone to businesses. Do you need content? It's hard. But when you get referred, it's an easy in. Like if I said to you, there's a restaurant down here. They do the best food ever. You need to go there. You're going to trust me and go there. without hesitation. Even if it looks crap on the outside and it looks dirty, you'll still go in. That's the benefit of a referral. So the first thing you need to do to get more clients is learn to be extraordinary and think about more than just the camera. We're so attached to the quality of things that we forget that the product is not the camera, it's us. It's the emails, it's how we respond to the client. Did we get more assets for them? Did we walk them through the process? Did you involve them on set? Did they have a client monitor so they felt involved? Did you give them creative decision on set? Was there any problems? Was there any resistance? Did you send your documentation on time? Did you invoice them correctly? Did you stipulate your terms in the beginning correctly? Because there's always overages, there's always extra editing, and when you fight with a client, it leaves a bad impression. I've done jobs where I've worked very, very hard for a client, and then in editing it all goes wrong because we fall out and they want silly things, and it's because I didn't dictate the terms correctly. So be extraordinary, really look at your customer journey, map it out, and this is why Sony plays such a huge part, because when I'm on set and I can get my shots quicker, I'm more with the client, I'm putting my hands around them, I can be a better producer. Because we've got so many hats as videographers. We're not just the content creator, we're the accountant, we're the marketeer, we're the director, we're the social media manager, we're the admin, and we have to eliminate things in our week. There was some guy here who was just telling me, where is he, about his challenge of getting clients in Pakistan. You go at the back. What's your name, sir? Hashim. Hashim was telling me that he wants to, he's struggling to video and photo edit. Very honestly, he put his hand up and said, I'm new, 1.5 years in, and I'm struggling with editing, and I want to get better. Why do you want to get better, sir? To get more clients. If you get extraordinary, you get more clients. Now, to become a good editor takes how long, guys? Years. Years. I'm still learning. You guys are still learning. So it's a very long, the compound curve of that is huge. And if he gets a good editor, what? Does he get more clients? No, he just gets good at editing. Maybe he could outsource it and just learn at becoming a better businessman and a better shooter. You know, I don't edit anymore. I used to edit loads for my business. Now I've got a team of people editing. I haven't edited in 4 years. So I just shoot now and do workshops like this. So you have to learn to eliminate. And that's what Sony's about. It eliminates things. Autofocus is not lazy. It eliminates a responsibility. There's a Venice 2 over there with a Zeiss Supreme Prime 1.5, and then you've got a 50mm 1.2 on the Burano. Use them both. I promise you, you won't tell the difference in terms of the look. And one's auto, one isn't. What's going to be easier for you to use? Exactly. Any other, sorry, go back to the getting clients. So ECV, extraordinary. The second is C, credible. You need to be credible. So I'm not the best speaker in the world, I'm not the best cameraman in the world, I'm not the best producer in the world, but I have a very credible portfolio. You guys all kind of took me a bit more seriously when you saw Will Smith on my portfolio. Now I got Will Smith not because I'm the best, it's because I know how to network with people. And I just over-delivered on all my productions, and when I had some US clients come to my country once and I over-delivered for them, they ended up knowing a producer in LA, and then I ended up referred. And it's very hard to measure, but it's amazing how far it goes when you start focusing on the credibility of your portfolio. But you can only get that by being extraordinary. So first it starts with E, then it's C, and the last thing is V, visibility. ECV. So visible is super important. I know lots of very talented cameramen in Dubai that should be busier, but they're not, because they're just not out there. And social media is part to do with it. But you've got to remember, social media is a warming up tool for your prospects. You've got to shake hands with people, get out there, over-deliver for people. You've got to be present with people. And then when you're visible in the market, that's when you get more clients, because people notice you more. So there's lots of visibility exercises that you can do as cameramen or content creators or whatever. Let me give an example. So a visibility exercise could be that you want to get referred, let's say you're a food videographer or photographer, and you need more food photography clients. So is your portfolio reflecting a lot of food photography? If not, go to 5 restaurants next week, say, can I do your photography or videography for free? And in return, I'd love a testimonial and a referral to 3 other restaurant owners that you know. They most likely will know 3 other restaurant owners. If you do a good job. If you don't do a good job, no risk. I will shake your hand and give you the content, goodbye. Dedicate a week of your time. Do it for free. Then you have a portfolio. People looking at your portfolio think you've been hired by 3 or 5 more clients, which is good. And then you get 5 referrals at least. That's visibility. That's putting yourself in a visible exercise. You're building credibility, and you're learning to be extraordinary, over-deliver. These are very simple techniques, but we don't adapt it because it's hard. For us, we're so focused on getting better equipment. We think that's what we need to grow. And yes, it's true, but only partly true. Is that making sense? Okay. Any more questions before we continue? No? It's okay? Good? Cool. Is it working? I'm not having a lot of luck with the tech today, am I? There we go, right. FX9 Burano in Venice. Now, we don't have a 9 here, unfortunately, but we do have the Burano. Now, the Burano is a particularly special camera. I'm going to blitz through FX9, though, anyway, just because it's here. It's part of the fleet, but we don't have one here. But 26 megapixel. I don't know if it's the same in the 30, but it's very similar. High dual base, scan modes in 5K, so this is really cool. This is a 6K sensor that scans in 5K, which means you can use Super 35 lenses, variable ND, and 15 stops of dynamic range. And for like ENG shooters, experienced DPs, production houses, the camera that a lot of people do invest in. It's really good. Benefits, it can be built up to start, do lots of different productions. It's the highest quality in the fleet beneath the Burano. It's challenged by, it's only can do full frame in the 6K up to 30. No IBIS, and the high base ISO only. That's its challenging by. Right, so yeah, event work, live streams, TV documentary, this is what the FX9 will be used for. Now the Burano, this is now my favorite camera. I haven't used it enough to say I've got the most value from it yet, but I've been using it for the last week, and yeah, it's game changing. Anybody use Aries here, or Reds, or any other, yeah? So if I were them, I would be really concerned, because in March, this thing's going to really revolutionize the cinema industry, so to speak, because this is basically a Venice that you can use by yourself. In fact, if you go try and use the Venice, it's going to be hard because all the buttons and all the other things that we're used to having on the side of the cameras is on the other side because it's designed to be used with a crew. Here, the smart side's on where you should be. And what's great about it is that it's an 8.6K sensor, so massive flexibility in post-production, E-mount and PL. So there's the E-mount there. You can see that with the PL adapter taken off, you can put an E-mount lens on it. High and low base ISO. A lot of these cameras in the market do not have, in this competition, do not have dual base ISO. So the fact that you have a cinema camera that's 8.6K with dual base ISO is a big deal, and it's XOCN. XOCN is the RAW equivalent. It's not anything, it's everything that RAW is, and if anything, it's better because they engineered it in a way to be really easy and light friendly on your computer to edit. Have Super 35 sensor mode, 16 stops of dynamic range. It has IBIS, so again, you can use it without it looking all wobbly and stuff. You can do smooth walk-ins with it, and it has a variable ND. I don't know how they've made it, to be honest. I don't know how Sony have done it. Target audience, very serious DPs, because it is going to be about, I think, $25,000. I mean, it's not a lot of money for what it is. I mean, you look at an Alexa 35, that's $100,000. So you get 4 of them for the price of one of those. Production houses and agencies, rental houses would be really great to invest in this camera because it enables people to do serious productions with a small team. And if you guys can use an FX3, I promise you, you can use this. And I'd love for you guys, everyone today must pick it up and use it at least once. Just try and play with it because it's so easy, it's so user-friendly. Don't be daunted by the fact it's so large. And Sony want to encourage you to do this. Like the whole point is that you rent these cameras for the big productions. One day you might get a job offer to do a big commercial, and if you've got a tiny FX3, yes, you're going to look a bit silly turning up with that. Now, we know the FX3 is a great camera. The creative film was shot on it. But again, these cameras are designed not just on quality. The client sees a big camera. They think they're getting good value for money. This is the reason why I think the 6 is particularly special over the 3s, because you can charge more for it. But it's the same as the ZVE1. So like, I can turn up with you with the FX3, and I've got a big FX6, and the client goes, oh, look at this guy, he's more valuable. But the sensor's the same. And you're like, what the hell, the sensor's the same. It is the same. you know? So, yeah. So benefits, easy to use, XOCN, AK auto functions, IBIS. Challenged by the price, it is obviously high, so not, I mean, I'm very debating whether I buy one. I think I might because we would probably have a lot of use for it. It's small, but it is heavy when you rig it up. And the range of scan modes is not as viable as the Venice. The Venice has a wide range. This is a bit limited. But types of productions would be high-end event films, premium commercials, solo op, long format work. So I do lots of work for like Netflix, Apple TV, Amazon Prime. This is where it really, really do well. And then like Steadicam work and stuff. Really, really cool. Venice 2. So like the Burano, but a bit bigger. And it has a lot of other codecs. It has XOCN, not LT, but ST and XT. XT is like the top level recording you can ever get. It's like the ultimate codec and format that you can shoot in. And this is the only camera that does it in this level of detail. But it also has 4K ProRes. So if a lot of you are like cutting on Final Cut and you need the ProRes codec, yep. Has what, sorry?
Bigger body than the FX3 and FX6.
Yes.
So I have the question, why the high native ISO only 300, 3200, but the other one is up to 12,000?
Okay, so you can have a higher base ISO and better low light performance if the sensor is smaller. So I imagine this is not a 12,800 ISO because the sensor is 8K. I don't know if that's technically correct. Is that right? Probably, yeah. So it's just an engineering problem. We might get there in a few years, but it's just at the minute with an 8K sensor, it requires so much information that the high base has its restrictions. But, you know, 3200 in this sort of camera, you're not going to be shooting in complete darkness with no lighting and an event. You're going to have normally a budget for lighting and stuff. And you've got to remember that for years, we've not even had high base ISO. For decades, well, for all eternity, we've never had high base ISO, and we've always made it work with lights. So 3200 really is a more useful high base ISO because you can increase it and just increase your depth of field a little bit. You know what I mean? The benefit with the high base is that I can go to like f5. Like if I'm shooting, like when I was shooting Omar with the boxing, I was shooting 1.4. So even on autofocus, it's very challenging. And if you ever film something that's moving fast, you know by increasing your aperture, your depth of field gets bigger. So it's easier for you to get things in sharpness. Now, with 3200, you can just put that on, and then you can increase your aperture and not lose too much difference in terms of your light exposure. With the 12,800, the jump's massive. So I hardly use high base ISO in the FX6. That's the irony. So it's a bit more practical as well. 16 stops of dynamic range, interchangeable CMOS 8.6K sensor block, also known as the Rialto. So it comes completely off, and it can be rigged on things or handheld. Target audience would be world-leading DPs, production houses, rental houses. I don't think any one of us would buy this. I wouldn't. Because to make your money back, you'd have to be using it a lot and doing lots of high-level work. So this is positioned more at rental houses, production houses. But it doesn't mean that you guys shouldn't know about it, because this thing, you can charge a lot of money to a client for this. Like on that Gulf Oil McLaren shoot, I was charging this out at, with the lenses, $12,000 a day. And I was paying the rental house, I think, like $6,000. So I was making $6,000 a day, and I don't even own it. But if you come with the Venice, again, it's just acting as if. A lot of us need to learn how to behave like we're bigger than we are. We've got to act as if we're bigger to be bigger. It's manifesting. Anyone believe in manifesting? There we go. So aspire to use this. Don't be daunted by it. These workshops, and I'm here to help bring you peace of mind to this equipment. The Venice 2, although looks complicated, it isn't. It isn't. It really is super straightforward. I have interns in my company using it that are like 17 years of age. They use them. So benefits: sensor block, Rialto, high base, variable ND, XOCN workflow. Challenged by the price, does not have any auto functions. That needs to be made quite clear, and it will require a crew to operate it. So, yeah. Let me do a quick demonstration. So I'll show you the Venice 2 first, because then I can show you how easy the Burano is to use afterwards. So if we can all slightly turn around. Got it? Right, so this is the Rialto. I don't know if everyone can see me. Will it stretch? So as you can see, it's still heavy. That's mainly due to the fact the lens is on it. But this is effectively the front of the sensor that normally exists on the Venice. That's okay, you can leave it there, it's all right. And as you can see, we've got an umbilical cord here. Obviously looks a bit impractical. You couldn't run around an event with this. But a lot of people, they have this backpack that you can put on. And enables you to then go handheld, and you can operate and do a shot like this for a long time. This is also useful because you can rig it inside something. So people will put it inside airplanes, cars, really tight spaces, because that's obviously such a big camera. But again, it requires a big crew to operate with this. I mean, you couldn't do this yourself. So I'm just going to do a bit of content with this now. I'm going to shoot Omar on the boxing. Now, this is a fully manual lens, so expect a lot of my shots to be out of focus. I'm going to increase the depth of field a bit on this, and I'll just show you what the quality is like. So can we get onto the Venice 2? Right. So we're running a 35mm at the minute. It's okay. I think I'll be right here. I will try 1.5. No, it's okay. We're not rolling. It's okay. Oh, what my shutter was? Yeah, sorry. It's not connected? Okay. 2 seconds. Oh, wait then. No, it's all right. We're just waiting for it to be connected. Sorry, guys. 2 seconds. We're just waiting for that. Hold on, Omar. Save your energy. He's so keen, isn't he? If any of you don't buy anything today, Omar's going to beat you up on the way out, all right? How are we doing on this? No link? Searching video, searching frequency. Is it? Okay, while we figure that out, I'm going to jump on the Burano. Can I give you this? I'd rather keep you guys waiting. Can we go to the Burano? Is that all right? See if this works. Is the Venice 2 connected? That's right, I got it. Go. It's on.
You connected to this monitor?
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, it's connected over there.
Oh, inside?
Yeah, it's inside, yeah. While we're oh, there we go. Right, so just to quickly show you guys, so as you can see, much lighter. This is running the 50mm 1.2. They've got a lovely loupe on the side here, which pops up, and you can see the monitor. Okay, and this is touchscreen. So if I can't see what I'm pressing, but you basically can touch this. And all the smart stuff is on the side, so you've got variable ND, record, and all that stuff. So let me show you what this looks like. Got a right, hold on. Let me go into autofocus. There we go. Autofocus now. Things on this. We haven't. Sorry, guys. Let me put the display settings on this so you can see what's on. Output display. You see that? There we go. So you guys can see what I'm looking at right now. So if anyone doesn't understand what these settings do, just save your questions, but you can see what I'm looking at now. Right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it in high base ISO now and increase my aperture to some 2.8, and you can see how the focusing would be a bit easier And this is some of the benefits to high base. Okay, so there's a quick look there. Ugh. Oh, we'll set the smoke alarm off there. Venice 2. Can we go to the Venice 2? Venice 2's on. Okay, so someone's using the Venice 2, which is good. So when that comes up, I'll just talk to you a bit through it. But anyone have any questions here around the settings on this camera? Because this is a flagship camera. If anyone gets daunted by this, now's the time to query it. Anyone confused with this? Everyone all right? Everyone know the settings? Yeah? It's very simple, very similar to the FX6, super easy to use. And you'll see most of the shooting I've done tonight, I've not done really any operating. I've just literally pointed it. Has everyone been impressed by the capabilities of the focus functions, yeah? And how nice it looks, yeah?
Yeah, after the second setting, which ones go faster.
Yeah.
Focus,
Cool. This is the Burano, yeah. Burano. So what we'll do, I will go back to the presentation. Let's see if I can. Which ones? There we go, presentation. I'll go back to this. Right. So this is quite an important slide, guys, which if any of you are concerned about the takeaways from today, I've made this little chart that makes it really easy for you. Now, this is my opinion. Do not take this as Sony's recommendations. These are my recommendations. The summary of why I feel Sony is leading in the market today is the workflow, XAVCI and XOCN really delivers you a super high quality and efficient format to work easier, which means you don't need to buy extremely expensive computers to edit anymore. The Cinema Line offers better flexibility, usability, and quality, which results in time and money saved. These are tools, in the end of the day, to produce an image. They're spanners. All right? You guys are making films. And you can use any camera you want in this day and age. They're all good. But Sony saves you time and money, I think, more than any other brand. You invest in things and they last you. And that's the biggest takeaway. I really want you guys to just bear in mind. All right? The E-mount ecosystem, it's a sound investment. One lens fits all. Auto functions, variable ND, autofocus, the speed. You've seen how easy it is for me to get shots in a bit of a mad environment last minute. I'm picking up every camera and they're super easy just to get content. I mean, some of the shots I got there, you could stick in a show reel. Honestly, you could, and it would work. High and low base ISO, great and low light, flexibility, and S-Cinetone. One thing we've not spoken about very much, and it's something to note. I've had a couple of people ask me about color grading these images, saying that sometimes things are a bit yellow, this, that, and the other. Ultimately, if you shoot log, you've got to grade it. But leveraging something like S-Cinetone, it's like a color profile baked into these cameras. It's developed in the Venice. It's a very, very, look at it as like a Rec 709, but very, like slightly warmer and much more film looking. And it's a really, really good color science. I shoot in S-Cinetone a lot. The Michelin film that I did was all S-Cinetone, no log, because it's fast. S-Cinetone helps you shoot, bake in a really nice color, and you get the asset out. I don't believe that log is always the way to go. Don't shoot log all the time. It's a misconception that you think it's necessary. Any questions on this one? I saw a couple of hands go up. You had a question?
If you get on the screen what you want exactly, for example, no picture profile.
Yeah.
You don't have to use S-Log, right?
I don't. Yeah, it's not about the quality. The S-Log. What does S-Log do? It adds more sensitivity into the sensor, flattens your colors so you have flexibility later. But your image is noisier. Like if you're in a really low light situation, if you shoot Cinetone, because you're adding noise to get dynamic range. And dynamic range does what? It gives you highlight and low light information. So if you're shooting someone next to a window, you can balance them better. So that's log. If you're shooting in a really, really dark environment, Cinetone is, I think, probably better. I've had better experience with it. I'm not a color grader as well. And then they grade their films badly, and then they upload it to the internet, and then you've got a crap-looking film. So if you don't have budget to color grade, or you don't know how to color grade, don't shoot log. If you're experimenting, fine, but like a lot of people just do it because it's the thing to do, and it's wrong. It's wrong. Yep.
Yeah, I have a question. What would you recommend? What setting, Cineton or log, if you are doing the underwater videography? Because you know, underwater, the colors are disappearing at certain.
If you're near the surface, log. If you're doing a lot of underwater, I would say Cinetone. Do a test. I think you would use Cinetone more if you realize how.
It's like sometimes there are no colors at all, like at certain depth, and it's really difficult.
Yeah.
So of course, like I know that's okay. Like if you need to bring the colors, then better if you are shooting with.
Are you guys color grading yourself? Are you experienced color graders? Then do.
I am, but more with photos.
Sure.
Well, with videos, I'm like.
Well, video's not as flexible as photos. I would recommend you do in your own time a production where you can shoot Cinetone and you'll see the difference. It will save you a lot of time. Remember, if you spend less time color grading, this is all designed to make the film look good, right? This is all what we're trying to do. So try not to complicate it for yourself. You know, it's like saying let's shoot manual instead of auto. Why? If you can shoot auto on something, shoot auto. Right, so let me go through this chart quickly, guys. So quick guide, up to $6,000, up to 10, above 25. Really easy. And then the X's of what benefits them, and I have a score here. So obviously the weakest, in my opinion, is the Venice 1, the FR7, and the FX9. The strong ones are the Burano and the 6. The Venice 2 obviously is winning in terms of specs, but for me, I think these two are really, really good. The 3 is close behind, and the 30 is not far behind either. So this is what I recommend. Now, these are the different categories I think it's important to realize when you're looking. Auto functions are really, really important. They're like crucial for speed. Affordability, I've only marked the FX30 down here because, again, I don't know the exact price, but absolute bargain of a camera. I just like, if you're looking to do multi-cam stuff, you can invest in 3 of those. You've got 3 cameras, they're all identical, really, really good. Full frame, important for low light and depth of field, so 30 missing here. 6K sensor, only in 5. 8K sensor, only in 2. Not cropped 4K 100 frames, even though this does 100 frames per second, it's cropped, so I've not included it. So that's obviously in the 3, 6, and the 7. Compactability, these 3. XOCN, this is the RAW codec, just to remind you. Variable ND, probably the most useful bit of tech Sony have come out with. It's the best in the market, I think, the variable ND. So this is an important factor. This is why the 6 is leading. These are all a bit, for me, too expensive to justify the investment, so therefore the 6 is great. For a DP's perspective, very high base ISO, these 3. IBIS, obviously these 3 here, the Burano, coming out trumps. And then the highest quality, obviously I have to tick the flagships because they are designed to be the highest quality. So if you're looking to do a big production, you should go and invest in the Venice to higher, obviously. And then the lock sensor, for me, is a benefit. I do a lot of rig and stuff, so I quite like cameras that don't have IBIS. Obviously, then that would be the 6, 9, and the Venice 1 and 2. So this is my guide for you guys if you're looking to upgrade, what you need to consider you need. Remember, your productions are all different. If you're doing food and you want like slow-mo pause, you probably will want the 4K 100 frames per second. You probably want the low light capability to shoot on a macro lens where you can really increase the f-stop. So therefore, the FX3, the 6 is going to be the camera for you to upgrade with. If you're doing a lot of documentary work, maybe you don't need the 100 frames per second. You shoot most of things 24. You could probably go with the 9 or the Burano or the 30 even. It depends. So you've got to ask yourself, what productions am I doing? What can the camera do to make me more efficient, more extraordinary? What would get me better results to improve my portfolio, which is the credibility? And what will enable me to have more time so I can go out and be visible? Remember, if you're working constantly in this industry and producing content, and you're not out meeting clients and growing yourself as a filmmaker and as a businessman, because if you're freelance, you're a businessman, then you will not grow. So these tools, remember, are to make your life easier, all right? So yeah, that's pretty much, you got it working? Okay. In fact, I'll probably just, oh, you got it working, okay. So the Venice, we'll leave the Venice 2 on. Leave that on the Venice 2 so then people can have a little play. Does anyone have any? I'm here all night, guys, so I'm here to answer any questions now. That was the workshop. Thank you. Yeah.
I just want to ask about when you can suggest like for picture from
feedback on the laptop. Sorry. Say again.
Over like for social media content creation and then for like small scale in-house production. What picture profile would you?
So what environment are you shooting in? Are you daylight, indoors? Is it low light? What are the sort of things you're doing?
Normally indoor.
Indoor? Lots of lights or no lights?
There's not huge light, but I mean like normal.
Okay. Are you experienced color grader?
Actually no.
Do you have anyone in your team that color grades?
Kinda, but not
Have your assets got to be turned over quickly? Are they fast? Have they got to be out the door quickly? Or do you have time?
like in the fast-paced like materials. So they want it like you finish right away. So
Okay.
instead of shooting log, what
So do you think log is better or not? Let me let you answer it. If you've got to get the asset out quickly, you don't have a lot of lights, it's fast, what color profile do you think is better, log or Cinetone?
Yeah, that's why
Cinetone.
you can recommend.
I know, but it's what I'm saying is I'm asking it back to you because to me it's obvious. So like if log is there for a reason. Log is there to flatten your image, to enable you to color grade. It captures the most information to enable you to color grade your image. But if you've got to get the asset out fast, Sony have developed Cinetone for this reason. Because Rec 709, it looks very broadcast, it's kind of a standard color space. Cinetone is a unique color science they've developed from the Venice to make everything look really pleasant. Your skin tones are accurate, everything's warm, you don't have blown out highlights, it's flat-ish, but it's vibrant enough to go uploaded straight away. So I would say it's really down, I mean, color grading is a preference in the end of the day to people. Some people like certain looks, and a log gives you that flexibility to play with your content. But if you're like me and you just want to get the asset out, I just want money, guys. I want to go home and chill out and watch Netflix with the missus. You know what I mean? I don't want to be up all night color grading because I'm doing so many productions. For me, these are tools. So for me, Cinetone is the way I go. I shoot log if it's really high budget and I've got budget for color grading. I don't think you should color grade for your clients unless you're charging color grading. They don't care. Well, they don't care, honestly. And I promise you, if you color grade an S-Log image versus Cinetone, and again, show this room full of people, no one will know. Did you guys know the Michelin film wasn't shot in log?
I think it will be worse if you don't know how to color grade.
Exactly. I'm not saying don't shoot log, guys. You just have to understand. Do you get what I'm saying with it? You just got to know when and use it. Yeah? Any other questions?
I've seen the built-in ND and variable ND. What is the difference?
So built-in ND and variable ND is very, so it's like, you know when you ever used an ND before where you screw on and it's like a certain strength, it's not variable? That's what it is. So a variable means that you have the ability to dial in your exact strength. Okay, so let me go back to the slide with the variable ND. There we go. So this is me, no ND, flipping on the ND, okay? And then I'm increasing the strength. So this is variable. So I'm able to go up or down. And then I go to high base ISO, so I can show you the use of it. And you can see the exact strength I want. Now the benefit to a variable is that I can go so high that it brings down the kind of exposure of the background. So a technique that I use quite a lot is I pump a lot of light on my subject, and then I put as the strongest ND I can on the subject, so then the background just gets crushed. So it makes things look more moody. Because sometimes you're working in environments where it doesn't look great and you don't want it to be too distracting. So these NDs give you more flexibility to then change your look. But that's how a variable ND works. If you have a not on a variable, it just has stops. So it'd be like ND 1/4, or 1/8, or 1/16, or 1/24. So they just get darker, but it steps. There is an ND preset option on here, but for me, I don't see the relevance. I think variable ND is what you use. So, but like the Venice 2 doesn't have a variable. It's just a standard ND light, ND medium, ND very dark, so to speak. That make sense? Cool.
I have a question.
Yeah.
How do you, from a professional or semi-professional or a newbie, how do you calculate your ROI when you go take work? How do I see, so for example, I'm starting new, I want to invest in a camera, how do I calculate my ROI?
Okay.
Is it for the number of years I'm going to do the work, or it's project-based? How should I understand my money?
True. Okay, so it's a good question. Well, I mean, if you're let's take an example. If you're a cameraman that's got a camera and your ROI is buying the equipment, you want to make as much money as possible with that camera, right? So the more shoots you use it in, the more ROI you get. So if you can get done sooner, if you can work quicker, if the workflow is easier, then you're spending less time editing and doing other things and you can execute more business. The ROI really is the time it saves you. So an FX30, for example, if you're very new to the industry, is cheaper than a 3. Therefore, if you did every production the same, you would make your money back quicker with a 30. But then you're deliberately choosing a camera that isn't spec'd as a 3. This is why it's important for you to know what to purchase, because a 6 is a lot more expensive than an FX3. But I know an FX6 operator in Dubai can charge about $700 a day more with it. So over 4 or 5 shoots, you've made your money back. Now, that's Dubai, but obviously you have your own rates and differences here. I'm not saying it's the same. It's not apples for apples. But when you have a bigger camera, you can charge more money as well. Clients pay more. That's why deliberately, if the client's not paying a lot, I don't go with an FX6. I deliberately don't. So the ROI is calculated really on how much you can charge for it, how much time does it save you, and the more you use it. If you have it, like I have got an FX9, I don't use it as much. Therefore, the ROI on that camera hasn't been as good for me as a 6, because I'm always using it. Because it's easier, it's lighter. Has anyone ever used a really big camera? It's hard, like your back's shot by the end of the day. So this is why, especially if you haven't got a big crew. So this is why the small cameras, the fact that Sony are investing so much technology into this is why the FX3 is so popular, guys. It's changed the game in terms of running around and you can get high quality with something so small. Does that answer your question? Yeah?
So I wanted to relate, the camera doesn't make the money, it's what you choose is important.
Yeah, true.
Buy an expensive camera, do nothing about it and never make the money.
Yeah, true, yeah. I mean, there are people I know that do have, like I just said, the FX9 I bought, I haven't made so much money on it because I haven't used it as much. The more you use it, the more ROI, the more you charge for it. But you need to charge for the equipment. So not many of us charge for equipment separately. There's a few DPs in Dubai that just charge themselves and the camera comes with it. I think that's bad. You need to separate it. So you need to know what to charge your clients.
How do you do it? Like, how do you charge a client? Like, how do you estimate?
Good question. So I tend to benchmark off the market standard. So if you called up a rental house and you said, how much is a cameraman and this camera, you get a quote. You got an instant base mark. They're most likely going to be competitive. So that's your benchmark. Now you can be, depending on what you value yourself at, you might say I'm a little bit under what I would say is from a rental house, therefore I'm going to charge 20% less. But I charge less based on terms I give to the client. So who gets asked for a discount? This is a good point. Who gets asked for a discount by their clients when they get hired? Everyone? Yeah. The other day I had a client call me up. They said they had a brief, but they wanted a discount. I was like, but I might be 100. Why would you want a discount? So this is the mentality we deal with as content creators. They don't value and appreciate how expensive all this crap is. Right? It's expensive. These are such expensive, and you need to pay for them. So discounting is very, very important and knowing when to do it correctly. So I'm coming back to your answer in a minute. How I discount is I only discount for a job if the client gives me something back in return. So a good little hack is if you don't want to be market rate, sometimes I charge less than rental houses for me, but I make the client pay up front fully. Or I make them give me a testimonial afterwards, which helps with the credibility. Or I make them give me a referral, which is visibility. Or I can say to them, can I create a case study after we've done the production and work with you to create a film for me that shows the value in what you've done? Because I did a film not so long ago for help them qualify prospects for their clients. This video helped them save hundreds of hours a month. So the ROI on that is huge. Save them tens of thousands of dollars a year in employment time. So I can say this video saved my client $30,000 in the first year and they're still using it. That's an amazing case study for when I go pitch to a client to use. We're very bad at showing the ROI in content. Because content is a cog in a clock of cogs. You cannot ever really show ROI in just a video to clients. It's very hard. You give them we deliver something either very, very beautiful or we give them a lot of content. We fix a quality issue or a volume issue. That's all we do. We do a bit of creative with the storytelling, and we deliver them a final film, but we don't post it. We don't promote it. We don't plan it in their business. There's 4 Ps. There's planning, producing, publishing, and promoting. We don't plan the campaign. We don't understand their business. We don't do that. We do publish it. We don't post it for them. We don't promote it either. And then we don't report on it. So therefore, our ROI is limited. It's also hard to understand. When you buy a mop, guys, it's very easy to buy, and it's a very easy, understandable product to buy. When we're buying a camera, it's really easy to understand. It's good quality, it does X, Y, Z, but when you're buying content, it's very hard to understand. Very, very complicated because the ROI is not easy to articulate. Has everyone struggled with this when you're trying to justify your prices to clients? Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, yeah.
How much we save our money, the time. Even we like as the last time I have shooting with the one new restaurant, they are in a soft opening. Even the time they don't give us enough time to do the shooting.
Yeah.
Instead they want it quickly. But that's the price.
Yeah. And then you sacrifice your asset delivery because of their crap timing, poor planning. It's normal.
We have to do like schedule for them. I deliver one meeting every week.
The struggle we have as content creators is that we get pushed around by our clients because we don't have clarity on the needle of their business KPIs. We're just content creators, but I mean, there's 3 ways I feel we can really focus on growing as a content creator. There's 3 ways to really make it. Number 1 is you niche and you become so good at something in some industry that you can eventually charge whatever you want. There are DPs in Dubai that I know that charge 20,000 dirhams a day and they're busy, but they're very niche and it's taken them years to get there. That's one way, and you use that money to invest in other things and you compound. Because you'll never get rich always trading your time for money. You'll never become financially secure by being a solo filmmaker, always shooting. Because when you stop shooting, you stop earning. So you need to have, that's one option, to learn to charge so high that you can eventually niche and use that money to compound. The second thing is to grow a team and become an agency where you can learn to be the clock, where you learn to do the planning, the producing, the publishing, the promoting. Not many of us want to do that. I don't want to learn social media. I don't want to do publishing. I don't want to do doing ads. I don't want to be promoting. I don't want to be reporting. I don't want to do that. We're just a production house. We're still just the solo team. But even then, I'm still always shooting. I'm always working, guys. I'm not financially free sat on a beach sipping margaritas, just like relaxing. So that's something you need to look at potentially growing. And the last one, which is what I'm working towards, is to be acquired. So agencies, some of us may be hired by agencies. They're the clock. They're the ones that do the 360 for their clients. But they lack the producing. They don't have that P. That's what we do. So we're actually working towards a future where First and 10 Productions will be acquired by an agency. We've had a couple of people offer us already. That's what I'm working towards. But only valuable based on its assets and those other things. We're going down a very deep hole now, but the reason why I bring this up is that it's important to recognize how you improve your growth as a filmmaker. Going back to the kit, it's all about using these to give you as much time as possible so that you can learn to improve your business and client acquisition and becoming extraordinary. Yeah.
Mostly, for example, clients, they don't really understand the price market.
Yeah.
And especially, for example, they say like, okay, but you're a freelancer.
Yeah.
But they don't understand that, for example, the agencies that they hire people often, like they hire juniors, and I'm much more experienced in certain things than them.
Yeah.
And they don't understand, and they just don't want to pay. They just say like, no, this is not the market price, and they are not willing to pay for the product or.
Yeah. Well, the problem is once someone buys something for you a certain price, you can't make them buy more. So once you've agreed yourself a discounted rate, it's very hard to go back up. I actually agree doing things for free as opposed to discount. I'd say your concern is that you don't know what I'm like. Let me do you a free job, but you only pay me once the asset's done. But then you pay me next time full whack. Because then there's no negotiation. So do note that when you go to a certain price, it's impossible for a client to go back up. Why would they pay? Like if you bought McDonald's Big Mac for $5 the other day, why would you go in the next day and pay 25 just because they say it's more valuable? You wouldn't. If people buy you on price, they will leave you on price. So the value has to come from other things. And that's why I mean going back to extraordinary. It doesn't matter if you've got clients that are not paying you what you're worth. If you can get new clients that can learn to pay you higher, you just need to learn how to articulate value more. So by becoming extraordinary, you can get better at pitching yourself. But you've got to look outside of the production. You've got to look at the lead acquisition, the presentation, the quote that you sent, how did the sale happen, what was the administrational like, what was the pre-production planning, do you send call sheets? Do you give a nice production schedule all branded? Do you send them a nice USB key saying thank you very much for your business? Do you send them a box of chocolates at the end of the year? Do you do all these things? Because for us, people buy first class. What for what? You land in first class the same time, guess what economy does? Same time. But you pay for a lot more because of the experience. Who's got an iPhone here? Yeah. Well, I don't. I have a Samsung. But you guys bought an iPhone because, is it better? To you it is. But I mean, at the end of the day, I can WhatsApp people, I can call people. But you buy on brand. How it makes you feel. I've got an iPhone. I'm this.
For me, it's not because my network is all with Apple. Like my computer, my iMac, my laptop.
Well, but that's an experience because I've got a.
I use
yeah.
Samsung. I use Samsung.
Yeah.
All right. Doesn't just change to iPhone?
What I'm getting at, because we can go into the technicals, but at the end of the day, you're buying an experience, and you become used to that experience. Therefore, you can't think of not using anything but an iPhone or an experience. I'm not like saying Apple's bad, whatever. But what I'm saying is that you don't just buy on the specs. So you buy on the experience, and as filmmakers, we've got to understand that we've got to brand ourselves a certain way. They're phones in the end of the day, just like we're cameramen. Except you want to adopt like what Apple are doing. What Apple are doing are really good. They have people queuing up outside their stores to buy the phone when they release. Does Samsung do that? No. People can walk in and buy it the same day it's released, and there's no queues. Why do people queue up? It's because it's the prestigious, it's the scarcity. What gives something value? Scarcity. So if you're limited, so this is why you don't have to always be a production team to make it. You can become very successful just as a solo entrepreneur filmmaker. But you just have to learn to increase your prices really, really highly. But that makes you scarce, and you just have to act very busy. But you also have to become extraordinary. iPhone wouldn't do very well if it wasn't a good product at the end of the day. I'm not saying it's not a great product. But it's with everything encompassed with the ecosystem, it's branded well, that's what makes it.
I think to your point, actually I'm a solo filmmaker.
Yeah.
And I do everything on my own, editing, producing, script writing, storytelling. I do it all on my own.
Yeah.
So following up to what you said, that it might be not a good thing. Is it true?
No, it's not. It's not. No, you are challenged because you're doing everything yourself. When you're editing, you're not making sales. When you're shooting, you're not making sales. So technically, filmmaking for you is a low-value task. Do you understand? So what you've got to try and do is think, well, how do I get more time back in my week so I can improve my portfolio? How can I sell more? How can I make more friends? If you're out shaking hands more and building your network and maybe hiring the odd, like where do you spend most of your time? Is it editing?
Mostly, yeah. And also for me, actually, it takes too much time. Because like, let's say there's an event or something.
Yeah.
I cover it on my own using one camera.
Do you like editing more or filming more?
Actually, both.
Pick one.
Filming.
Okay. Try hiring or bring on an intern to help you with the editing. Humor me with it. Because if you can save 50% of your week, imagine what you can do with it. Because you can do double the amount of shoots. Now, you're taking a step back in your profits to eventually take 2 steps forward. That's what business is. It's this. That's what you have to do. Remember, if you get a deal, it's not always have to be done by you. Because you'll get tired one day, You'll get like, I arrived here 10 years ago. I'm exhausted, guys. I'm very tired. I've been doing back-to-back shoots. Like my last shoot 2 days ago, I did an overnight, 3 p.m. to 4 a.m. I then I did a 6-hour shoot the next day. The next day I was here. I'm very, very busy. And I'm working way too much than I should. So I'm not a testament to say I'm the future of what you guys should be. I'm in it with you guys. I'm amongst you. I'm very much struggling and have the pains of production just like you guys. And you guys are here to just try and make your jobs easier at the end of the day. I know you're interested in the kit, but you're all still sat here because you're interested about learning to get clients, right? And that's what we have to connect the cameras to, is they're spanners. We're mechanics and they're just spanners. How do we get more cars into the workshop and get them out and get more customers in? And how do we charge more so we can be better than that garage? And it's all about how we position ourselves, how we brand ourselves, and we have to eliminate time. So yes, I like editing, and I do it as a fun thing now, but I haven't done it professionally for years, and I do miss it. But for you to grow, you cannot grow just by being fully on it all the time. You've got to pick and choose your jobs.
I understand that.
Yeah.
Because I love everything. I'm a diverse person.
Yeah, it's hard. Because you feel no one can do as good a job as you, right? They won't care as much. And that's true, they won't. You will hire an editor tomorrow, you'll take my advice, they'll hire an editor, they'll do a bad job. They will. And that's okay. It's okay. You need to just make your peace with that. Because if you don't, unless you're making absolute buck and you're quite content and you're happy doing this, because your ceiling will be low, so you'll be there. Now, if you're very content here, great, there's nothing to talk about. But if you want more money, you've got to strategically look at it like a business. So you've got to look at leveraging your time more. This is why I like Cinetone's really good. Saves you loads of color grading time. Don't have to keep shooting the same shot over and over in manual focus because the autofocus is so good. So yeah, saves your time. Yep.
When do you feel you have to reject this client?
Reject this client? Yeah, it's a good question. I'm very bad. I say yes to a lot of work. And sometimes if you accept a job, even if you know it's a bit cheap or whatever, but you think the client's going to look good in your portfolio, it's handy to have it sometimes and like do that. But it depends where you are on your journey. Like I'm in a position now where I turn down more jobs than I've ever done before. But I said yes to everything for the first 4 or 5 years. I just think you need to have your standards of obviously you need your price benchmark. You can't be doing things at a loss. So you have to have a benchmark. But if you come to your benchmark, just like I said before, just say to your client, if I'm coming here to you, if I'm coming to you, can you come to me with something else? So ask for the referral, ask for the testimonial. Who here has asked a client for a testimonial? I bet no one in the room has. Honestly, who's asked for a testimonial from a client? You. Did you get it? No, just a person. Oh, you did. Did you get it? Was it good? Did it do anything for you? What did it do? You got a testimonial from the client? Have you used it at all in anywhere or not? Or has it helped you in any way? Okay, so have you done it again? Have you done it again recently? Do you do it every so often? Why not?
No, I used to try, but sometimes I get and I use it.
What I'm getting at is that sometimes you just don't think about it. We need to think, how do we get ourselves extraordinary? You know? Like on Amazon, when you buy something that's usually 5 stars with lots of reviews, right? It's the first thing we go to. Why not adapt that to us? If someone went in your Instagram and they saw face after face after face after face after face of people saying how amazing you were, you could do that at the end of the shoot and it would be amazing. Or just have, like what I've got, like loads of brands on your portfolio. Just the more credible you look, the more your value can go up. So this goes back to your question. You can charge more when you appear more in demand. Like simple, like learning sales techniques. Like when a client calls me and they say, can we have a meeting? I'll say, I'm really busy this week. We've got back-to-back productions with this, this, and this client. Can I squeeze you in 2 weeks' time on this date? Or can we do a Zoom tomorrow? Don't go and, you've got to just try and be efficient with your timing. Appear in demand. These are just sales techniques that I learned. This is going back to what I said here. 3 things that made me successful: soft skills, hard skills, and great gear. So a lot of us don't invest in this, the soft skills. When was the last time anyone read a sales book? It's boring, guys, but it's so important just to learn the language of how to sell and communicate value to your clients.
Actually, it's my major. I'm studying it now.
Good. Amazing. Marketing. Yeah, marketing advertises, but it doesn't close. Closing's hard because it's talking about prices, it's talking about objections, Like another really good, one great tip I'd recommend for you guys is imagine previous scenarios where you've gone to clients and you've tried to pitch a production or you're quoting for a job, and write down what you think they would have felt. If you didn't get it, write down what you think they didn't close with you on. Like maybe I'm too new, or maybe maybe I was too expensive, or just write down different things and learn to pitch against those objections. So like when someone says to me, Tim, your prices are very expensive. I go, yes, they are. Agree with them. Yes, they are. And do you know why? It's because of X, Y, Z. Because we do X, Y, Z. We do this, we do this, we do this. And by agreeing with the client, you give them comfortable. Or if you even address it before they come up with, like, I've got a student, because I teach filmmakers how to grow their businesses. I've got a whole different infrastructure separate to my business where I help filmmakers grow. And one of the things I try to say to my students when they grow in their careers is try to address the elephant in the room before they bring it up. So like if you're very, very new to the industry, you can say to your client, look, I know my portfolio is not very experienced. I know I might seem new, but I can assure you this job means a lot to me to build my portfolio up. As a low risk to you, how about we do something where you pay you pay a higher to what I want, only if the job goes smoothly. So you pay a very small down payment. And if you don't like the production, you don't have to take it, you don't have to pay me. But if you take it and you use it, you pay me X. No risk. Would that be okay? And instantly they're going to feel more comfortable because you feel like you're on their wavelength. So it's little things like this, like little tips, learning how to pitch well and learning how to articulate your value is where the real needle moves on your business, you know? And once you've got a portfolio full of clients, it's very easy to charge more. That's not true. Well, no one has budget, but it's money in, money out, right?
I'm sure everyone has faced this.
I face it. I face it all the time. But okay, there's three things. No, four things. Like, treat it as fishing. Okay, so the fish are the clients, okay? Fish are the clients. Do you know what the correct fish is that you should be fishing for? Like, do you know what your target market is? How many jobs have you done? Yeah. So you've done 3 years. How many clients? 100? 50? 20? I have some regular clients. Yeah, how many clients total? Projects? 50? 20? Okay. Imagine you took those 20 clients. Yeah? Imagine them, all the jobs. And you organize them by the highest paying and the ones you enjoyed the most. That's your target market. How many times have we done that? I don't think many people have. I did this a few years ago, and it was let me tell you a story. This really changed my business. I did this 3 years ago. I did this exercise where I looked at all my projects, and I thought, I'm battling with people saying they have no budgets. Let me just look at my data. Who paid me the most? And I organized, I think I had 500 transactions. I filtered it down for the top 10. And I had 3 different types of agencies in that top 10. Agencies are very good clients for us because they know how to make content sell, because they're hiring the producing part. They're doing the planning, publishing, and the promoting, if you remember. And strangely, PR agencies, they weren't the highest paying out of the lot, but no, they were the highest paying, but they were the least amount. So I had 20 marketing agencies, 10 digital, and 3 PR. But 3 PR matched the same as marketing, so they were paying more per job. Now I thought to myself, why does PR pay more? Well, I know they don't know content as well as marketing, trying to get a deal. They know PR, they know public relations, so they know what the key messaging needs to be. So I thought to myself, well, obviously I've got good ROI from PR agencies. How do I learn to find more of that fish? Now, where do fish swim in lakes, right? Or the sea. Let's say lakes for now. So where do the fish hang out? Where do they swim? Because you're probably fishing in the wrong lake, or you're fishing for the wrong fish. So I've got, let's just say you're me. The fish are PR companies. What lake do fish swim in? So where do they hang out? Coffee shops, the gym, events. And we did an exercise as a production team, and we thought, well, PR companies benefit by showing that they have good PR. Like good content creators have a good I've got a good show reel, so you know I'm a good content creator. So good PR companies have good PR. Where do you see good PR? Well, PR award ceremonies are a really good way to get good PR. So I targeted and went and met with 2 PR award companies in Dubai. I met with them to find that's the correct lake. And I said, hello, PR company, PR award company. My name's Tim from First and 10 Productions. Do you have awards every year? Yes, we do. We're a PR awards company. Cool. We're going to shoot your event for free. Why? We're like, well, your customers are my customers. Referral source. Like imagine shooting a wedding. The bride is the customer. Befriend a DJ. Befriend a catering company. Befriend a wedding planner. It's an ecosystem. So I befriended the PR awards ceremony. And I said to them, let me shoot your event for free. All I want is to become a member and to have access to your database if we do a good job. I did the event for free. It cost me, I'd say maybe 30,000 dirhams worth of internal costs because I had to, like the employment, the editing, like after like 2-3 weeks of meetings. So there was some value to it, but I was all internal resources. I could do it. After the event, I had 3 referrals. One was the Gulf Oils job. That job paid me 500,000 dirhams, about $120,000. One exercise, learning to fish correctly in the right lake. Now, there's other things, the bait that attracts the fish. What do the PR companies like? Well, they like good quality content that they can share for their clients. So I made my portfolio, when I was doing that event, very, very clear on my Instagram that I had a lot of PR content. And when I sent an email out to all the members, I said, here's all the PR content we've done. We did the Pope visit, we did XYZ, we did this. Let us know if you need anything. So that I used the correct bait. And lastly, the method is the rod. So how do you fish? So you've got the bait, the fish, the lake, and the rod, the mechanism to deliver the bait. I physically went around and met with them all. And I got referrals before doing this. So before I even got a chance to get around the PR companies in the database, I actually had 3 referrals because they saw me running around the event with branded t-shirts on. I had 4 guys there. So one exercise, one event, one meeting got me 400,000 dirhams. There is budget because that client was from abroad. So it wasn't even, it was an international job. So you might get booked by someone somewhere else. You're not geographically restricted to here. You can serve anyone. So that story for me really changed my business 2-3 years ago because I got like a client that keeps giving me business now that pays very well. And I understood very clearly by doing an exercise and learning how to fish correctly. So one great exercise today is go home tonight or tomorrow, you're probably a bit tired now, outline all your jobs that you've done. What did you enjoy? What paid the most? That's your target market. And go out and find more people like that. Yep.
Can I add one step? Like I was a marketing manager.
Yep.
Main success, like not as they you say, mostly they say without graduate. That's fine. For me, what I have, I get out 10 quotations and I get 2 jobs, which was 20% of the quotations. That's successful for me because 2 jobs, new jobs I got it. That means I do my research with the market.
Yeah.
And I got 2 clients from 10.
Right.
That's successful. Like good job, what I done. I got a new job, a new client, or even you re-agree with new older clients.
Yeah.
So mainly, most of the guys, what I found here, like they waiting for the job to come for them.
Yeah.
You know, to do their research.
Exactly.
Market themselves.
Exactly.
As you say.
Yeah.
But just to say, we have to research and we have to promote ourselves.
You do. You're probably so good. You are, obviously, I can tell that you serve a lot of people, so you probably have business automatically come to you. But you can't become lazy, guys. It's very easy to not be hungry when you're fed. If you are getting little jobs from time to time, you're feeding yourself, you've got to pretend you're starved. It's amazing when you get really like worried about your financial stability in life, that when you go out and you start acting differently, that things happen. It's not a coincidence. When you bump into people and you're more visible with people, you get more business. It's just like when you bump into an old friend and you're like, we should go for a coffee, and then you go for a coffee. It wouldn't have happened unless you bumped into them. It's the same thing with clients. They're not front of mind thinking of you all the time, but if you're visible.
I think sometimes you add more value to yourself as a filmmaker if you say no.
True.
For example, one of my clients,
yeah.
he
Okay, that's good. Really good. And just because you said no?
Yeah, first time I said no, then he called again.
Well, people want what they can't have sometimes. You know, it's the.
I think it's a good thing sometimes to say no. Actually,
But you got to get it right. You don't just be rude. You got to say your reasons why.
Yeah, exactly.
I've genuinely said no to clients. Like, we're really busy right now. I'd love to be able to serve you, but I'd have to lean on people that I don't trust to execute this job. I wouldn't want to put my name to it. What I'd love for you to do is consider me next time. That's a really good way to say no. Or I can refer you to someone that can do it, but my name can't be attached to it. And then you talk to that person and you ask them to give you a commission. So you're making money some way.
And actually, if you accept the free job, put in your mind that the customer will not come again and pay.
Yes, true, but you've got to remember, doing free work has its place. I'm not against free work, because what it does is it opens a door to some. You just got to have strategy with it. So like if you go say, I'm going to do you a free shoot, then yes, they may not pay, but they may refer you to someone. But you have to communicate your expectations. It's a relationship. It's not a one-way street. If I do this free thing for you, what do I get from you? Do I get a testimonial? Can I use a case study? Can you refer me to another client? And then, or can I give you the money back when I get? I mean, you've got to just mitigate the risk. But again, I don't do free work so much. I mean, like the McLaren thing, like the PR company, I did a free event. I'm a seasoned DP. I've been shooting 12 years. I did a free event 2 years ago. So it does.
If you say it's free, it's a bad thing. It's a good thing, actually. But if you know when to say no, it would be that would add more value to you.
Okay, this is how I answer your question. I would learn to say no if it's a detriment to your ECV. So if it's going to cause you to not be extraordinary, don't do it. ECV, we always remember that. So that's where I would say no the most, even if it's a free job. Don't do something free if your name's going to be. You're only as good as your last job, guys. That's why you need to use proper kit. And that's why, like, big advocates for Sony. I've only shot on Sony. You know, I have used other cameras, but all my show was Sony. Yeah. Any other questions, guys? How did I become an ambassador? Well, networking. So I'll tell you how I became an ambassador. So I actually went to an event like this. I went to the launch of the FS7. I met Alistair Chapman. I met the Sony guys. And I just made myself known, and I kept offering to, I think I borrowed the camera, and I showed interest, and I invested in one, and I kept sending them content, and I kept showing up, and I kept showing interest. And then in the lockdown, I think we all had a bad time in the lockdown. I lost like 1.6 million dirhams, and the rent was high. I had a terrible time, and we all probably did. But I decided to go on camera and start to create a Facebook group where we were doing content for brands, and we did a podcast. We did loads of random things. It's not relevant to the conversation, but the point is I went on front of camera and I started talking. And Sony noticed, because I became so friendly with them, that they were like, oh, this guy's a Sony advocate. He's been using Sony for years. And there's this ambassadorship program they had at the time for the FX9. So it was an element of luck. But it's because I then went on camera that they decided to include me as an offer to be an ambassador. So by building rapport and being visible, and then being on front of camera, they gave it to me. I love Sony to bits, but I don't know why they have me as an ambassador, because I don't speak Arabic and I'm from England. It's like, especially for Mia. But I mean, like, you know, I love them to bits, and hopefully I deliver a lot of value to them. But I got an ambassador not because I'm the best content creator, and I'm not the best speaker. I'm not the best person on camera, but it's just I have a mix of everything, and I understand the value in what the gear does. And I think when you understand your clients, because Sony's a client to me, when you understand your clients well and what moves the needle for them, if you do more of that, then the relationship will flourish. You should always be repeatedly booked by your clients. Content's necessary, guys. It's a constant thing. We're going to go home tonight, and I guarantee all of you are going to go on Instagram or TikTok. I guarantee it. And you're all going to spend about 15 minutes watching rubbish, because we're in a content age. We are in a really, really strong industry. We were talking about this at lunchtime. I think we are in one of the most stable industries, and we've got an advantage over anyone else, because they look at what we do, they're like, how would you make that video? That's amazing, wow. And we know how to do it, but we get so caught up in the nitty-gritty details that we forget our value. learning to story sell, learning to light, learning to get content out quickly, learning how to add value to our clients. That's the value. And if you learn to do that well, you'll be unstoppable. I really, really do believe that. Cool. Does everyone find that valuable, useful? Did anyone have any questions about the camera? Very cell heavy, but has anyone got any other questions about the gear or cameras?
Yeah, I have one.
Yeah, go on.
The low budget segment.
Yeah.
The FX30, FX3, and FX9. The kind of work I do is very. Find it difficult to choose which one to go for. Like I need a slow motion shot.
So what content do you do?
I did commercial also.
So you do commercials? What type of commercials? That's very vague. Social. Yeah, but what are they? Food, cars, like?
Plus for some corporate.
So why do you need slow motion for corporate?
There are some movements
Like 50 frames or 100 or?
This is what the thing I did.
Okay.
They sell services for mobile maintenance center.
Okay, let me ask you a question to answer your question. You want to upgrade? Cool. Why? What's the problem? What are you facing as a challenge right now?
Great gear.
You don't have great gear. What do you have?
I'm using a 1DX.
A 1DX, a Canon. Okay, and that's a photo camera. Or do you use it for video? Okay. So that's got it's quite an old camera, so that's challenged in low light, I guess?
I used the A7S II.
A7S II, good camera, good in low light. But the auto functions are not where they are like they are now. So you use the A7S II or the 1DX more? What do you use?
Right now I have 1DX, but back then I used A7S II.
Do you find the 1DX better?
1DX actually, sometimes if I have some projects, what I have to do without team,
Yeah.
then I use.
Have you used any of these cameras before? Or is this first time you're seeing them? Okay, so for me, A7S III you've used. Okay, so you know a bit about how these work then, because the A7S III is like the FX3. Did you like that? What did you like about it?
Color.
Color? Autofocus?
And the file size.
And the file size, okay.
It's better than Canon.
Yeah, sure. So you're looking to maybe get something like an A7S III or an FX3, is that what you're looking to get?
Yeah, like now see, I like the FX6 configuration.
Yep.
But the problem here is that it doesn't have IBIS.
But it does have IBIS, it's just not embedded into the firewall. So the if you've got money for an FX6, get an FX6, bro, because it will not disappoint. And the IBIS shouldn't concern you about not getting it, because you've got the metadata baked into the clip, and you can go to Catalyst Prepare, which is like a $30 a month subscription, and you can do everything in it, and you can change the actual image stabilization in the metadata of the file and export it. It's a workflow step, but it gives you actually better flexibility. So it does everything the FX3 actually does, to be honest, and more. But the FX3 is awesome. Like, I'd get that or an A7S III. I mean, they're similar.
It doesn't have a lot of great features like which FX6 has.
Yeah, the FX6 is an amazing camera. It's like the strongest, I think, in the fleet for the price. It's so strong.
Only issue I had is it doesn't have IBIS.
Yes, but I've just answered that question, hopefully. Yeah, so if I were you, I would go to the till and buy an FX6. But seriously, like, and if you're concerned genuinely about making the jump, I promise you, use it. I don't need to sell it. Use it. You'll use it one day. You'll be like, bloody hell, where's it been all my life? Seriously, it's so.
I'm actually pretty confused.
I mean, you saw me today. I was running around trying to entertain you guys. The FX6 was the easiest thing to use for me. Yeah, it's such a cool camera, guys. Really cool. I love it. But it's my opinion. I mean, Sony, they're all great. I have to say that for Sony. Yeah. But yeah, the 6 is good. I mean, try it, dude. Like, rent one out, or just ask these. Can you come into the store? I'm sure AAB will look after you for like an afternoon if you want to play with it for a few days. Yeah, so just try it out. It will pay for itself quite quickly. It really will.
How is going to happen, the new AI impact on this new production?
What, sorry, the
AI impact.
AI impact.
Yeah, to the
AI is it's helping the what new camera? The A7C Mark II, you know that? That's got AI focus tracking capabilities in it. Yeah. So AI is now making your focusing much more, it's much more reliable because it's detecting what's in the frame and it's understanding that, oh, there's a human being here.
Like the movement in
Yeah. Yeah.
Especially when the character moves, the frame itself.
Exactly. What AI is going to do is it's going to make filmmaking, this is something that, it's a very good point you brought this up. AI is going to make filmmaking easier for people that don't know what they're doing. So this is why we need to learn to do other things than just learn to shoot very well. Well, let me give you an example. let's say 10 years ago, if you wanted a gimbal shot, you had to hire a Steadicam guy. It was thousands of dollars a day. Now you can give a toddler an Osmo and it will get the same shot. A toddler, doesn't even talk, and it can get a shot. So that's just telling you that technology is getting so good that AI eventually is going to understand that it needs an ND on, and that the aperture needs to be this, and you're filming an interview, so maybe it needs to look like this. One day it's coming, guys. So your jobs are not unthreatening, but it's just you have to learn to add more notches on the belt. Do you know what I mean? You have to become a bit more skilled in other things. Like you've seen those like CapCut auto edits now, and like the auto pod on Premiere where you can now have a 3 multi-camera shoot and it's like cutting it up for you. Oh my God, the time save. So AI is gonna make our jobs much easier, but it is also gonna threaten it in some ways. So you just gotta learn to leverage and move with it. Because when I came here, a lot of people were saying, you're gonna get a lot of people from ARRI saying that they use ARRI XYZ, and it's like, I love ARRI to bits. I think they're good, I've used the cameras, but like, Sony are they're very futuristic, and it's like, I feel like companies like ARRI and things, they're getting left behind a little bit. They're not innovating as much. They're just hanging their hat on the fact that they've been around for ages, but they're getting old. They are. And it's not just about skin tones and color anymore, because all the cameras look good. And your mum, if I put the FX30 next to the Venice 2, she wouldn't notice. No one would. Really, unless you're in the industry. Do you understand? Yeah. Any other questions, guys?
You're using the catalyst in FX6. Do you still get
Omar, you can go home, mate, I think. Unless anyone else wants to shoot with Omar.
Thank you.
Thank you, Omar. Cheers. Sorry, mate.
Do you still get a little bit of cropping when you use stabilization catalyst from FX6?
Yeah, so the way IBIS works is you have the sensor and it zooms in a little bit. So yes, if you're using Catalyst Prepare, you obviously have to zoom into your image a little bit to do the stabilization. But it's not like Premiere where you warp stabilize. So yeah, it's a lot more controllable. Because with active, you do lose your full frame.
Yeah.
With Catalyst Prepare, you can choose. You'd be like, I don't like it, I do like it.
Does this factor in, or for example, when you're shooting, that you will be cropping it, so you put it in the frame, right? So
yeah, so I shoot FX6, I stabilize maybe 3 or 4 clips in the entire project maximum. There's I really wish that would stabilize. Everything else I'm usually fine with.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Do you think the global shutter will make those all
Global shutter, so yeah. Has everyone heard about the A9 Mark III? Yeah, I don't think people realize how much of a big deal that is. People are not talking about it enough. Global shutter really is the new realm of cinematography that we're entering. I don't know if anyone's shot with the F50 camera. That was the last global shutter camera Sony made, and it honestly, the images look very different on global shutter. It looks awesome. So the A9 with global shutter, I think is great. I think it will change. So the way a shutter works, imagine this is the sensor. It will read information like this, like in lines. So when you move the camera, verticals go like that because the sensor's reading it here, and by the time it gets to the bottom, it's read it here. So you get it's called rolling shutter. With global shutter, it's bam in one. So you can film something very, very fast, and the movement looks really, really accurate and cinematic. So global shutter is basically it's a motion benefit more so than anything. Plus you don't get strobing on screen, so you never get strobing issues. I mean, there's so many benefits to global shutter. Really, really good. Also fast, like the A9 can do 120 frames raw, 120 in 1 second. like raw files, like 26 megapixels, insane. So yeah, I mean, that will change the industry. I mean, there might be a Cine Line in the future where a lot of them are global shutter. At the minute, they're not. I think the Venice 2 is the global shutter, I think. I don't know. I think this probably is global shutter, these two. Yeah. No, they won't be dead. Rolling shutter has its place. It's more affordable than a global shutter. But technology is improving. Yeah. When you say these cameras will be dead, can I just say that I don't think people care. Like, again, so forgive me, but you're getting caught up on very, very intricate details that we all notice, but no one else does. Again, okay, so tell me where, like, again, I get it. Global shutter is better. It's a game changer. It is better. But I'm saying in the context of business, it doesn't matter, or just content generally, because it's again, it's a small detail. So I wouldn't worry about it. I wouldn't put it off you buying anything, because so many brands are going to be years away from having their fleet global shutter. It will come, but it's a long way away still. Yeah. Yeah. If you're a sports photographer, get an A9 Mark III, don't get any of this. But if you're a videographer, don't get the A9 Mark III, get one of these. It depends what you're doing. These are tools, guys. You've got to get the right spanners for the right job. Make sense?
I think it has its specific use cases.
Yeah. Cool, guys. Yep.
I know the FX6 has been around for some time.
Yeah.
Do you think Mark II is coming up soon?
I would love to think so, but I don't think so. I don't know. I don't know what they would do to improve it, to be honest. Because if they start improving this, what happens to these? So between you and me, Sony, they do this. They've got the ability to make cameras much better than they are, but they restrict them a little bit. But they have to, because...
Do it over time, but longer than time, the upgrades. Yeah.
I don't, yeah, I mean, I don't know. There might be a Mark II, I don't know. I can tell you right now that the Cine Line is pretty complete. Whatever you buy, you're not in the risk of having it redundant in a couple of years. You've definitely got a safe investment. Like, there's not a massive wave of new cameras. This was the last piece of the puzzle. So it's pretty complete right now. Anything that will come will probably be in 2 or 3 years. So anything that does come won't be massive, it'll be small. All right? But you didn't hear that from me, all right?
Do you think there will be A7S Mark IV?
Of course.
Really?
Yeah, of course. Of course. Well, there's an A7R5, so...
There is rumors.
Yeah.
About this, but somebody said there is a big update for the A7S Mark III.
Yeah.
So they take it as this will be the last A7S Mark III. There is no hope.
True. I don't know what's around the corner for, I don't know what's around the corner for the cameras that are releasing. But one thing I would say, it was only a year ago where we were like, the Venice 2 can't have autofocus, it's 8K, it's impossible. And then this came out. So I'm just saying, like, you don't know, like, no, I don't know. I don't know what's, because the A7S is sensitivity, so it's a low light shooting camera. So the megapixel always has to be small for it to have the low light capability. So it's not going to be an 8K thing. It's not, because otherwise it will lose its low light sensitivity. Do you see what I mean? That's why the A7R5 is 8K. Like, you go shoot an event with an A7R5, it's crap. A7S is 10 times better. They have their place, so there is logic to it. But I mean, whatever I'm saying, it's a benefit. But I would, A7S III, I don't know, again, I don't know why people buy that, get the 3, but then when you buy the 3, I'd get the 6. So for me, it's like, these are the cameras I'd buy, these two. That and that. Those are the 3 I'd buy. Yeah. The FX3. ZV-1's good. But it overheats, it's a vlog camera, it's for, yeah, it's like, yeah. It's a toy. It's a good toy. It's a pro toy.
It's only for vlogging.
But it's not a... Yeah.
It's very good camera.
No, but if you're like a vlogger, an influencer, you don't want to piss about with like, you know, settings and stuff, and you just want...
For YouTube, they use
yeah.
Instagram.
Yeah, great. Again, it's a tool, guys. Like there's influencers making massive waves and getting big influence online, shooting on ZVE 10s. It's not about the gear. Like, it's what you do with it. Yeah. How to use it, how to leverage the content. Yeah. So it's good. Thank you guys for giving me so much of your time tonight.
Thank you very much for all the
No.
I have just a technical question regarding the screen in the FX6.
FX6?
Yes.
Yep.
Can you attach it to a Ninja 5 monitor, external monitor, and use all the functionalities on the screen, the small screen on the cinema monitor?
I don't think so. Because it works through the plug that's in the side of the FX6 to read the metadata and to control the
so it
sensor.
doesn't work with it, you know.
No, because you're connected through SDI. So the touch functions only work for the Atomos. It doesn't work for the camera. It might one day. They might have a camera that does it. So one thing that annoys me with the FX3s and 30s is that when you plug a HDMI monitor into it, to have the display settings on the...
Yes, this is exactly...
You lose the monitor in the back,
yes.
which is the touch functions.
Yes.
Yeah, that annoys me.
Yeah.
That's why, again, I love the 6.
But in FX6...
You can have the display options and you have the touch functions. You have both.
So you use 2 monitors?
Yeah, you use 2 monitors, yeah.
So you have an external recorder and you still use...
I don't external record on the FX6.
You don't, so if you need
it's
to
pointless.
shoot RAW or something, you don't...
So again, I shouldn't say this, but don't shoot RAW on the 6.3, 30, there's no point. They're so good internally. Again, why do you shoot RAW? This goes back to the S-Log. Why are you adding drama to your workflow?
I understand. But for me, I was not more concerned about RAW, about more
monitoring.
than I have the details.
The tiny monitor on the 13:3 is a problem. It's hard to notice it. You need a bigger monitor.
Yes.
I agree with that. And when you're on the display output, you don't have any of the settings on the big screen. You only have the little, and it's hard to juggle.
Right.
I agree with you.
Yeah.
But that's the compact form factor. If you want a proper camera, you go to an FX6. This is the reason why the FX6 is such a good camera. It's why I think it's worth it. It's the same camera as the 3, but it's better. It sounds like you guys are serious at what you do, and you're conscious about your tools. You have a 3 now?
No.
What do you have?
Alpha 1 and...
A41, yeah.
A7S3.
Yeah, get a 6. It will change your life. It really will. And you can charge more.
I just always like to use bigger monitor, because the small monitor is like very limiting, and sometimes you need to use some tools like exposure tools and stuff. And
you will grow as a content creator when you get a proper video camera.
Like FS6.
It makes me like so much better shooter.
So do you just use it with a small screen? That's it. This
Yeah.
Is how you shoot, or
No, I do bigger screen on it sometimes, but this little screen's really good.
But do you use any external monitors? Not for record, just for like.
No, just for feed.
Just for feed, yeah.
Yeah, I don't external record.
Which one do you use?
I don't. I use the small HD.
Small HD, okay.
Yeah, it's good quality. I like it.
All right.
Thank you, man.
very much.
Lovely meeting you. Hope I answered everything. Follow me on Instagram if you guys have any questions. Instagram's here, timf.mathews. Follow me, DM me anytime, guys. I will be happily answering anything at all. Jump on a phone call, message you. It's fine. Yeah, probably. Yep. Thank you, Manny. I appreciate your time. Thank you, buddy. Thank you, man.
Thank you so much, and you are using a very lovely font, actually.
Oh, thank you. Cheers. Thank you very much.
This one, right?
Yes, that's the one. Yeah, that's me.
This one, right?
Yes. Yeah, that's the one. Thank you.
I registered for your last workshop, the 8K, I believe, 8K.
Yeah, which one? The
exposure.
Exposure. Yeah, you did. You were there.
8K, yeah.
Yeah. Cool, man. Yeah, I remember you. You were asking lots of questions. There was only like 3 people in the room. We went to a workshop in Dubai, and there was like 3 people turned up. Bless him, he was one of them.
3?
Oh, it was you? Were you there? There was like 3 or 4 other people. Wasn't anyone else there? Yeah. Well, maybe I don't know. Yeah. Cool, man. Thanks, buddy. Appreciate your time.
Meeting you.
Yeah, thank you.
And do you answer yourself?
Sorry?
On Instagram, do you answer yourself?
Yeah, I answer myself. It's me. Yeah, I've got a team as well, but just send me any messages you need now and again, and I'm happy to help you with your advising on growing your business. Like I mentor lots of students, so yeah, happy to help. All right.
Nice meeting you.
Yeah, lovely to meet you.
Beautiful eyes.
Thank you. Oh, thank you, mate. Appreciate it. Cheers.
Where are you from?
England.
That's good.
Yeah, England,
Thank
yeah.
you so much.
Thank you, buddy.
It was really fruitful.
Oh, thank you. I'm glad you enjoyed it. What was useful for you? Was it the clients thing or just the...
Yeah, specifically for the clients
Yeah.
and how you aim them. That was really important for me.
Thank you, yeah.
And also the technical parts, because he is
Yeah.
DOP. We are working together.
Yeah,
He's the DOP. I'm the director of the...
So you're the brains, he's the muscle.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Exactly. Exactly. We want to take photo with you.
Yeah, love to, yeah. Can you take a picture of us or someone?
I'm not good in campaigning, but I cannot.
Okay, yeah, exactly. Where do I stand here? Go on.
Well, we are in 3-2-2 and he's in the middle.
Yeah, there we go. Thank you, guys. Cool. Oh, one more. Come on, we're in a content creator event.
I'm not good in
That's okay, it's okay.
Why? No, why is not...
I know. He gets it. You're on TP, you know what you're doing.
You can go a little bit.
Just give us a space.
Thank you, guys. I really appreciate your questions, though, mate. Thank you.
Can I show some of my work?
You can, yeah, of course. Thank you, mate. Thank you. Lovely to meet you, mate. Follow me on Instagram, yeah?
I'm from Dubai, by the way.
Oh, are you? Well, follow me. We'll grab a coffee or something sometime. Oh, great. Well, send me a DM. Let's hang out. Cool, man.